Part 88. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 876. Chapter 876. Who dares to be so arrogant? After leaving the hill gate of fearless heavenly palace, Wei Suo and others are preparing to return to Immortal Armor City before rushing to Sky Sword Sect to inquire about the news. Cao Yi has now climbed to such a height. Sky Sword Sect is so arrogant. A few spiritual stones took a look at a city along the way. Wei Suo and others learned that Sky Sword Sect cultivator Cao Yi, one of the two culprits who killed Wei Suo's parents, is now already Sky Sword Sect Master is designated as the second heir to the next Sect Master. Sky Sword Sect at the moment, the true treasure of the treasure disciple is Shikigo, that is to say, the status of Cao Yi is only under this person in Sky Sword section. If Shikigo is unpredictable and degraded, the true treasure of the treasure disciple is the round. It's up to him. And at this moment, Sky Sword Sect has released a message saying that Wei Suo has been swearing, and it has also declared that if Wei Suo is bold, he will make a public appearance and they will kill Wei Suo. These messages made Wei Suo look dark. A man who did not know how many innocent cultivator had been killed, climbed such a high position, a building on many low-grade cultivator white bone level sect, he killed divine mystic great tree shuriken and so many cultivator after the high level, incredibly instead become atrocious. He has not wanted to seek revenge, the other side but incredibly already ready to kill him. In this case, it depends on who is more embarrassed. Now Wei Suo is close to divine mystic. He has in addition to great treasure quantity water attribute monster core, there are divine phoenix stone pellet, 3 the plant, as well as in hibernation gas see that batch of sect master and old antique class characters, and 7 great treasure secret place among water gods Oisha, leaflets golden eggplant, mixed element green melon and so contains the astonishing spiritual chi spiritual herb, body has accumulated the astonishing resources. Of course, because he cultivation immortal root 5 secrets, plus golden core is incomparable pang great treasure, the resources needed to break through is better than other cultivation heaven level top rank shapeshift great arts cultivator more than one, and now he has so many resources to add up to not enough, and can guarantee his smooth breakthrough to divine mystic resources, compared to the other half. But Sky Sword Sect is also the foundation of thousands of years, such a great sect. Even if there is no great treasure amount of monster core and spiritual herb useful for Wei Suo, the total number of shapeshift great art great treasure, shapeshift great art and spiritual stones of sected is also very amazing. If you can smooth out the entire Sky Sword Sect gate, you should be able to get Wei Suo intercourse to get the rest of the resources you need. Don't let me catch the opportunity this time. As long as there is more than 50% confidence, I must directly destroy your Sky Sword Sect and make Sky Sword Sect the last stepping stone for divine mystic. Hearing the news of Cao Yi and the public scream of Sky Sword Sect, Wei Suo swears in his heart while he is black. He decided to do all the shapeshift great art this time, to destroy Sky Sword Sect. In order to avoid revealing the trail for the time being, Wei Suo did not use void walking step shapeshift great art along the way, and did not use transforming as one wishes secrets. However, using the shapeshift great art array between the cities, it is not slow to catch up. Less than a day, Wei Suo and others have already rushed back to Immortal Armor City. Shortly after the transmission of shapeshift great art, Wei Suo and others heard many people whispering and saying that treasure receiving watchtower got into trouble with great treasure. Ling Su sect is too deceptive this time, and the city should have guaranteed the secret place of any guest. No one can stop Ling Su sect this time. Immortal Armor Sect Master Armor Reverend was killed in this battle. Immortal Armor Sect acquiesced Ling Su sect to do this in the city. A great treasure tie downs backstage is said to be Joe's firm strength at all no shapeshift great art and Ling Su, and sect Ling compared, and that this person is said to have been and breaking void sect a female cultivator marriage, lost Ling Zizao, Ling Su sect equivalent to suddenly broke a very great treasure backer, so Ling Su sect will be so furious, and kill Ling Zizao, This also equivalent to not give breaking void sect face. If you die, Jochia's hang must eat great treasure. After listening carefully for a while, Wei Suo gave a direct look at Ling Longtian and others, and directly applied a popular copy of Shapeshift Great Art from Eastern Desolate Sect Scriptures Depository to Sun Zengui. Great treasure go. It turned out that Ling Su sect was so fascinated that it was impossible to find out who killed Ling Zizao, but surrounded the square of Sun Zengui, saying that Ling Su sect's people suspected that the people who killed Ling Zizao had participated before. At the auction, when I asked Sun Zengui said that there was a fake. At this moment, Ling Su sect is still in the treasure receiving watchtower, and I don't know what the lust situation is. Someone flew directly in Immortal Armor City. What do they want to do? It is forbidden to display Shapeshift Great Art in Immortal Armor City. Wei Suo unfolds Shapeshift Great Art, and all the cultivators along the way have noticed it. They are very surprised. You do what? Don't you know that it is forbidden to fly in Immortal Armor City? Soon, there were two cyan escape light descending from the high secret place, the great treasure surging sound, which was the patrol cultivator of two Immortal Armor sect. If you don't care about Ling Su sect, then let me manage it. Wei Suo simply ignored the two cultivators, still looting towards Sun Zengui. The two Immortal Armor sect cultivators were eclipsed, but they didn't have time to make any action. The two suddenly burst into flames, and the white face fell down a few feet in the air before they stopped. Wei Suo's divine consciousness pressure directly prevented the two Immortal Armor sect cultivators from being able to control the heart. True Yuan has no Shapeshift Great Art control at all. Immortal Armor sect, if you don't want to be unnecessary, don't intervene. Wei Suo coldly slammed a word. You guys. Soon, a middle-aged cultivator wearing a silver-gray Shapeshift Great Art gown was blocked in front of Wei Suo and others, and 5 or 6 cultivators were encircled. You are the cultivator of Ling Su sect. Wei Suo didn't stop at all, and swiftly passed by the middle-aged cultivator wearing a silver-gray Shapeshift Great Art gown. If your Ling Su sect cultivation base's highest cultivator is not in the treasure receiving watchtower, let him go to the treasure receiving watchtower to see me. The middle-aged cultivator wearing a silver-gray Shapeshift Great Art gown is pale and sweaty. The middle-aged cultivator wearing a silver-gray Shapeshift Great Art robe is already the cultivation base of the Thought Division 5th layer late stage, but similarly, under the pressure of Wei Suo's divine consciousness pressure, he is like an ice cave. There is no difference between Shapeshift Great Art, Thought Division Realm 5th layer and Golden Core 5th layer, and the Golden Core 5th layer cultivator like Wei Suo. It is too great treasure. After wiping a cold sweat and glanced at the back of Wei Suo and others, the middle-aged cultivator wearing a silver-gray Shapeshift Great Art gown immediately reached out to a talisman. A light blue flame, immediately rising into the sky, formed a light blue light ball, suspended in the air, for a moment. You guys. Not far from the great treasure door of the treasure receiving watchtower, there are 5 or 6 cultivators forced up, and the look is very bad. Wei Suo didn't pay any attention to these people, just the divine consciousness pressure, went straight into the great treasure door of Nagrat treasure. Great treasure, Sun Zengui. After entering the great treasure door, Wei Suo directly sipped a surging sound. If you are in peacetime, according to Wei Suo's temper, you will definitely have some fun. Those who press these Ling Su sects may also use some wretched means, but the news of the Sky Sword sect he heard is very black. So there is no interest in entanglement with the opponent of the inflow. Who? Wei Suo's surging sound. When the sound just sounded, the inner Ling Su sect cultivator had already reacted to the outside and there were 5 or 6 cultivators flying out of it. In order to be a majestic old man wearing a green Shapeshift Great Art dress with a bamboo pattern, the spiritual chi from his body forms a Vajra shape outside the body, which is the cultivation base of the Golden Core first layer. Shua. At the time these cultivators just appeared, Wei Suo had directly released the divine consciousness, and the rolling divine consciousness pressure instantly filled the area of thousands of feet. You, senior. The majestic old man had just had a face and wanted to swear by the great treasure surging sound, but Wei Suo's power was pressed out. He was suddenly a surging sound sternly shouted, a hard squat in his throat, and his legs twitched. A name, the degree of change is Hanwai Wei here, I must laugh out of the surging sound. Who dares to be so arrogant, don't put our Ling Su sect in the eye. At this time, a surging sound came with a burst of surging sound, and soon a man with a red spirit light wearing a silver red shapeshift great art embroidered with a fire unicorn pattern, the face was extremely gloomy and appeared in the doorway. Are you so arrogant? When the silver veteran appeared, he looked at Wei Suo, coldly, with a fierce look. Brother, this is the predecessor, don't be rude. But what made the silver veteran stunned at once was that the old man in front of him was wearing a green shapeshift great art, but he immediately said this to him, and the sound was transmitted to his ear. This person is at least golden core 4th layer above the cultivation base, we are not opponent. Yu Ling Su sect is the highest in the secret place cultivation base, is it just you? Not even the cultivation base of the golden core 3rd layer? Wei Suo coldly glanced at the silver veteran, what about Sun Zengui? I don't know what the predecessor is. You don't have to look down on our entire Ling Su sect too much. The silver veteran's face changed, strong surging sound said. Hum off, Wei Suo calms out the surging sound. Ah, the silver veteran directly coughed up blood and flew backwards. The whole square was dead, and all the cultivators of Ling Su sect were frozen. What about Sun Zengui? Wei Suo's eyes fell on the old man in front of the golden core 1st layer. He is inside, the old man in green clothes said coldly. Take me in and see him. Wei Suo is unceremonious and direct. The old man in the green suit did not dare to violate the rules. His face turned white and walked with Wei Suo. Wei Suo's divine ability is far from his imagination, and he can be sure that even if all the people are swarming, it is not an opponent of Wei Suo. Sun Zengui, are they bad for you? Wei Suo followed the old man in green to a great treasure hall and saw Sun Zengui and several upper-level figures in the city. Senior, Sun Zengui saw Wei Suo coming in, suddenly his eyes lit up and then shook his head. Ling Zizao is what I killed. If you don't accept it, you can go outside the city and wait for me to go out and tell me reason. Wei Suo looked at the old man in green and the great treasure hall. Several people, such as Sun Zengui and others, who were originally guarding the Ling Su sect cultivator, did not know what happened. Coldly said this. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 877. Chapter 877 Sword King Old Ancestor. No pop-up window, 10,000 book fans are online at the same time. Not to mention sect like Ling Su sect, even many of the high-profile people of Breaking Void sect, one of the 10 great sects of heavenly profound continent, Wei Suo has no scruples. There is no divine mystic great treasure section without prior arrangement, there is no great treasure threat to him and Ling Longtian. Even when the people of Ling Su sect explored the clues and suspected that he was Wei Suo, he probably had already arrived at Heavenly Sword City where Sky Sword sect was located. He had already secretly explored Sky Sword sect to deal with his hidden secret place. If there is more than 50% of the opportunities, Wei Suo will not hide his identity at all. It is absolutely necessary to sweep the Sky Sword sect mountain gate and completely kill the sect with his enemy. At this time, what Wei Suo didn't know was that there were thousands of cultivators in the Sky Sword sect gate, gathered in a secret place. Among the mountain gates of Sky Sword sect, there are hundreds of peaks, and each mountain peak is steep and towering, extremely dangerous, like a long sword. Beyond the steep peaks of the entire 100, there is a faintly divine mark of Sion, which is connected to cover the entire gate of Sky Sword sect. Among the hundreds of peaks, the secret place is a towering building of black or bronze. It is very cold and has a strip of rune engraved on it. The characteristics of the whole mountain gate are full of soldiers and savage, and the atmosphere of gold and iron is strong. Among the many peaks, there are surging sounds of forged essence metal and flying sword, and there are some swordsmen like dragons and cranes. Swimming outside the mountain. There are always hundreds of swords, from a secret place like a meteor shower, plunging to another mountain, looking like divine weapon crossing, gorgeous and imposing. At this moment, Sky Sword sect gathers thousands of cultivators in the highest peak of the northern part of the Sky Sword section. This peak is nearly half higher than all the other steep and straight peaks of the Sky Sword section. The rest of the peaks of Sky Sword sect are like visiting this peak. This is a secret place. The mountain is steep, almost all of the grass is not born, but close to the top of the mountain wall, but there is a cyan old pine, do not know how many years of growth, as with spirituality, green glow flashing, very agile. The place where thousands of cultivators gather at this moment is even more amazing. This is a flat place on the secret place of the central region of the mountain. It has a flat slope of more than 10 miles. On the left side of the flat slope, there is a deep pool formed by a sword. The pool is dark blue. Above the pool, there is a length and width of more than 20 feet. It is like a mirror-like space crack, sometimes from time to time. A few condense essence of the amazing sword chi, in the air hit the spin, out of the dragon-like sword surging sound, like the amazing sword cultivator, in the cracks of the space inside the sword. On the right side, there is a steep, tower-like giant great treasure stalagmite. This stalagmite is 100 feet high and 200 feet high. There are several cave-like deep holes on it, and there is a mysterious breath. This stalagmite is an ordinary light stone, but the surface is a lot of silver, red, pale green, like rust. At this moment, the thousands of cultivators of Sky Sword sect are facing this natural stone tower, sitting on the ground, with spirit light flashing, and thousands of cultivators, all of which are true disciple, older than the elders. The cultivator, which is the top character of Sky Sword sect, is here. And this time has been known for a long time. Above the obvious natural stone tower, the scene is even more amazing. There is a splendid light that is more than twice as large as this natural stone tower great treasure. It is suspended at the top of the stone tower, like a breath, and among the splendid light, a sword is suspended, and it is full of flying swords. In it, this 1,000-handed flying sword is a slight tremor in the absence of surging sound and seems to be visiting this natural stone tower. A heaven-shaking atmosphere suddenly recovered from the stone tower, causing all the divine marks in the entire Sky Sword sect to resonate. The Sky Sword sect has hundreds of steep peaks, numerous splendid light, condense the light sword of the giant great treasure of the handle. In the sky gate of Sky Sword sect, countless swords and light rises, such as the same round of cold moon, sword chi skyrocketing, as if to greet a king rebirth. A blue light flashed from the top of the stone tower, and immediately turned into an invincible Xingyi man, scanning all the Sky Sword sect great treasure characters and Sky Sword sect. The man in Xingyi gave a feeling of illusion, and there was no amazing divine light. It didn't seem to be a fleshy body, but his breath was extremely deep. His eyes made all the people present want to bow down. Go on, like to the gods, want to pay homage to him. Finally succeeded. Finally came out. Wei Suo is dead. Sword King old ancestor. All the Sky Sword sect cultivators who saw this Xingyi man appeared were extremely excited and kept squatting. This simply cannot tell what kind of atmosphere it is, as seen in Immortal King, solemn and weird. Thousands of swords gathered together, called me to the world, my Sky Sword sect, finally ushered in a fatal crisis. The man in Xingyi had a slight sigh, and his tone was extremely vicissitudes. Sword King old ancestor, a middle-aged cultivator wearing a white Chinese dress and a breadth of body is also extremely amazing. This person is the current sect master of Sky Sword sect. But he only said 4 words. The Xingyi man standing at the top of the tower was sweeping him and a few Sky Sword Sect's old antique figures. Shua. Like a cold electricity flash from the Sky Sword sect master and several Sky Sword sect old antique. My Sky Sword sect divine mystic fallen, the current cultivation world has been dying, it seems that it is just a glance. This singularly like Xingyi man already knows what they think of shapeshift great art. No beginning sword scripture, this person is no longer in cloud spirit continent, just in heavenly profound continent. The Xingyi man suddenly looked down at the gate of Sky Sword sect and looked at the surging sound calmly. It seemed that with some kind of induction, he felt that he did not know how many miles away, Wei Suo's glimpse inner chi. What? Sky Sword sect master and others are extremely shocked. I will kill this person, I am not complete, I have been sleeping for too long, forgetting my swords, and when I finally divine might moves, I will catch my source, and I will leave one of my swords. These people's natural talent and cultivation base are good, is the hope of my Sky Sword sect revitalization, I will bring these people, I will pass my sword into their sea of consciousness. The Xingyi man is still calming out the surging sound. And as his surging sound came out, the four young cultivators were suddenly taken up by a great treasure and came behind the Xingyi man. Shiguki, Cao Yi, Xiao Yuhang, Chen Chen. Countless Sky Sword sect cultivator shocked, countless Sky Sword sect cultivator extraordinary. These four people are very young and famous characters of Sky Sword sect natural talent and luck. They are selected by the Sword King Old Ancestor and must have extraordinary achievements. Among the four, Cao Yi, who has been remembered by Wei Suo, is also in it. It looks like a 30-year-old face, white as jade, pointed chin, wearing a white gold gown, looks like a pear. The appearance of the sun. It's up to you to accompany me. After the Xingyi men selected four descendants of Sky Sword sect, he reached out and grabbed a pine branch from the pine on the top of the mountain cliff. Shua. The pine branch of Xian Ziyiguang fell into his hands, but it was turned into a pinewood sword of Xian. A heaven-shaking sword chi spread out from the wooden sword and the man of Xingyi, making all the sky the cultivators in sword sect are all amazed. It seems that this man in Xingyi can break through the world with a single sword. Then, the invincible Xingyi man never said anything more, and the naked body turned into a cyan streamer, just a flash, and directly with the four people such as Cao Yi disappeared above the peak. Song King Old Ancestor, thousands of Sky Sword sect's upper squatters are thrilled and shocked. Sword King Old Ancestor with a sword out of Sky Sword sect, must shake the entire heavenly profound continent, shocking all sect, and Sword King Old Ancestor will also pass the shocking sword, which they did not even think of. Sword King Old Ancestor is not only this killing. With divine ability of Sword King Old Ancestor, who can block it? Sword King Old Ancestor doesn't perceive the smell of this person's water spirit Yuan Qi and controls no beginning sword scripture. This person is actually at heavenly profound continent, killing this person in one fell swoop. My Sky Sword sect doesn't know what kind of majesty can be harvested. Sky Sword sect master got excited, and the great treasure surging sound was passed down. Explore the footsteps of Sword King Old Ancestor and see where he killed this person. Wei Suo naturally knows nothing about this. He and Ling Longtian and others think that Sky Sword sect is used against him. It is probably an extremely powerful sword array, but he did not expect Sky Sword section. What he did was exactly what he imagined. After a moment of conversation with Sun Zengui etal, Wei Suo and others walked out of the great treasure door of the city. Sun Zengui, this square city, and the Zhujia business bank behind it, under the lust shape that knows the true identity of Wei Suo, do their best. In this short 2 or 3 days, help Wei Suo from dozens of cities around. Among them, more than 10,000 water attribute monster cores were secretly purchased, and there were 2 water attribute monster cores at level 7 high level and 3 water attribute monster cores at level 7 low grade. I owe you a person lust. After receiving these water attribute monster core and the remaining spiritual stones, Wei Suo said this to Sun Zengui and others. This is like a promise of him. With his words, as long as Zhou has a great treasure in the future, he will shoot. In Immortal Armor City, the cultivator of Ling Su sect and Immortal Armor sect has disappeared. After Wei Suo and others walked out of the great treasure door of the city, no one dared to come up with it. Who is this person? Previously the great treasure swung the great treasure and swept through the city. Now Immortal Armor sect and Ling Su sect have no cultivator at all to dare to take care of him. Whether it's who, it's definitely a cultivation base with an amazingly great treasure cultivator. Many cultivators in Immortal Armor City are secretly speculating on Wei Suo's identity. It seems that Ling Su sect is at least not afraid to go out with you outside the city at the moment. Ling Longtian and Wei Suo walked along and sounded to Wei Suo's ear. She looked around and Ling Su sect's cultivator seemed to have all retired and did not stay outside the city. I am really not an unreasonable person. If it is reasonable, I will only tell them that the person wants to kill people and goods, and then I will be killed. Wei Suo said this, moving the direction of the shapeshift great art array towards the city. Since Ling Su sect didn't want to find him, he just saved some time and rushed to Sky Sword sect. Fist great treasure is justification. They are still acquainted, knowing that you and damn swindler have no reason to speak. Ling Longtian has a surging sound. Suddenly, Ling Longtian was a wrinkled brow, looked up and looked over the top of his head. What? Wei Suo stopped. He immediately saw that there was a strange blue light in the sky above the secret place. Good-looking novels, tell your friends. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 878. Chapter 878 Divine Might Recovery. It's the atmosphere of the Divine Mystic Peak Cultivator, Ling Longtian immediately said to Wei Suo. Divine Mystic Peak. Wei Suo suddenly took a deep breath. The blue light seems to be revealed from the void, far from the Immortal Armor City, but he has a very bad feeling. Is it a flying sword? Wei Suo and Ling Longtian were surprised by the great treasure. As they got closer and closer, both of them faintly saw that the blue light was a cyan flying sword. A solitary cyan flying sword flies in the air and heads towards Immortal Armor City. This cyan flying sword looks like a wooden sword, but it is a wooden sword, but it flies with it, but with the breath and the pressure of terrifying treasure, it stuns the world like a star. What thing? A shapeshift great art great treasure. How come there will be a shapeshift great art great treasure flying? What is this shapeshift great art great treasure? How is the smell so terrifying? The perception of all cultivators around Immortal Armor City is many times worse than that of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian, but soon all cultivators feel this blue light, and many cultivators can't help but scream out surging sound. I still can't see what this blue light is, but the breath and pressure brought by the blue light makes them feel the inner destruction of inner chi. Shua. Suddenly there was a brilliance on the cyan flying sword, and a substantial sword chi formed a lotus-like sword wheel behind the flying cyan flying sword, as if unwrapping a seal on the flying sword. Several figures suddenly, the brilliance scattered on the flying sword emerged from it. An incomparably invincible Xingyi man stood in the back of the cyan sword, and a divine might from him wrapped the rear four figures and walked along with the cyan flying sword. The man in Xingyi is the Sword King old ancestor called by Sky Sword sect, and the four people in the rear are Shiguki and Cao Yi. What is this divine ability? Wei Suo couldn't help but look at Ling Longtian. He didn't know the identity of Sword King old ancestor at the moment, but the lust scene at the moment and the Sword King old ancestor scorned everything, but it kept his heart. Amazing sword chi, this person must have an amazing cultivation base on the sword, and the wooden sword was turned into divine weapon by his origin chi. This person is not a flesh. It is a section of divine sense that a great treasure can be enclosed in a shapeshift great art, Similar to a divine light avatar. Ling Longtian's fast sound transmission into Wei Suo's ear, the golden light of the eyes kept flashing. Is it Sky Sword Sect? Wei Suo is deeply inhaled. If he closes his eyes and feels at the moment, he is purely aware of a chilling sword that is stunned by heavenly sword. It flies from the distant secret place, and its power seems to be one piece of the entire immortal armor city opened. This should be the ancients of Sky Sword Sect. It is a great treasure of Sky Sword Sect, a piece of divine sense that survived. Sky Sword Sect is moving this divine sense. Ling Longtian made a quick judgment. Look at this, the other party is likely to be able to lock our inner chi. Sky Sword Sect. That said, Sky Sword Sect is going to deal with us. It is not a sword array, but by some means, a segment of divine sense that Sky Sword Sect can retain a great treasure. Wei Suo's face was very ugly, and this change completely exceeded his expectations. He did a good job, but the other side was in front of him. How much do you think we have to deal with this person? I don't know. Divine Mystic's Peak Cultivator means, no one knows how much divine might this divine sense will leave that great treasure. The only certainty is that this divine sense is as impossible as the holy sword that Wang Wei sealed in the Lu Jinao naked body at that time. The powerful energy can be obtained without the shapeshift great art and the flesh. In addition, the divine might that is precious to leave, is gone after it is exhausted. Ling Longtian squinted and said quickly. Yeah, great treasure brother, the other party may be against us. You first stop at the shop. Wei Suo's eyes flashed, and he quickly turned to the sound transmission of Yes Yaozheng and Ye Guwei, and made a look at Ling Longtian. The two walked toward another store ahead. According to Sword King Old Ancestor, it seems that the cultivator can be sealed in the flying sword. From the perspective of divine ability, he has void walking step shapeshift great art and may not be able to have this person. See if the other party has already locked them. Under this lust shape, Ye Guwei and others also know that it is not only dangerous to be with Wei Suo's, but it will make Wei Suo and Ling Longtian in the way, so after hearing Wei Suo's sound transmission, Ye Guwei and others will immediately click. Nodded, very nervous after entering a shop next door, first separated from Wei Suo, Ling Longtian. Tianzi Wizards, young, there is such a cultivation base, unfortunately, it is destined to fall. Xing Yi Sword King Old Ancestor took the lead with the sword and volleyed. First, he said this sentence gently. Wei Suo is it, if you don't want to hurt the innocent, go out and fight with me. In the more than 100 miles from the shops where Wei Suo and Ling Longtian were temporarily hiding, the invincible Xing Yi man made such a surging sound, and at the same time he shot a cyan wooden sword in front of him. Sword Chi. Shua. The shops where Wei Suo and Ling Longtian were in the air turned into fly ash, and there were countless deep cracks on the ground. The inside of Ling Longtian was abruptly gray, blocking the attack and protecting a shopkeeper and a clerk in the store. Numerous cultivators in Immortal Armor City are scared and pale. 100 miles away to play a sword light, powerful energy, like a meteor crush, what kind of cultivator can do it? Wei Suo. Is Domineering Reverend? Domineering Reverend is in Immortal Armor City. This person turned out to be Domineering Reverend. At the same time, many cultivators are also incredibly exclaimed. In the shop that was directly shocked by the powerful energy of terrifying, a shopkeeper wearing a purple robe and a young clerk face no one, and the whole body has been soaked by cold sweat, and they simply can't stand. Let's go. Wei Suo didn't have any stop at all, and directly moved the void walking step shapeshift great art to drive Ling Longtian, stepping out in one step and instantly spanning 10 miles. OM. A surging sound between the shocking, Wei Suo has already sacrificed the indestructible clean bottle at the second time Wei Suo made the void walking step shapeshift great art. The chill of a strong great treasure spread out in the Immortal Armor City, and the crystal bottle of the amazing road was scattered, revealing a circle of very beautiful ice-colored divine mark. Bottled immortal artifact, there is ice-cold divine mark lingering. This person turned out to be domineering Reverend Wei Suo. Killed divine mystics domineering Reverend, even in this immortal armor city. This person is Wei Suo, many cultivators are exclaimed, and many immortal armor sect cultivators and many Ling Su sect cultivators hidden in the dark secret place are even more shocking. Wei Suo's fierce name has been spread throughout Cloud Spirit Continent and Heavenly Profound Continent, a true killing. You are who? Wei Suo's surging sound is also coming out. At the time when Wei Suo moved the void walking step shapeshift great art several times, the Xingyi men did not attack anymore. It was obvious that Wei Suo would leave the city area of Immortal Armor City first. I am the ancients of Sky Sword Sect, removed for Sky Sword Sect, the Xingyi man looked at Wei Suo and said calmly. Sky Sword Sect. Is Sky Sword Sect to kill this person? Immortal Armor City is in awe. Divine might of the Xingyi man, the atmosphere has clearly overwhelmed Wei Suo, giving people a sense of life and death, an unstoppable feeling. Sure enough. Wei Suo's face is very ugly, no longer say anything, directly linked to void walking step shapeshift great art. This divine sense is not a complete person at all, it is a must, and the other is Sky Sword Sect to kill him. It is impossible to change for anything. The only result is that he kills Wei Suo. Or Wei Suo broke him completely. After Wei Suo had crossed the area of Immortal Armor City, the Cyan Wooden Sword led the Xingyi man to pursue the Wei Suo and Ling Longtian. No, this person's sealed divine might is recovering. Can only fight with him right away. The original Xingyi man pursued the degree. It seems that there is no shapeshift great art comparable to Wei Suo's void walking step shapeshift great art, but Ling Longtian is the horse's top color great treasure, and quickly let Wei Suo stop. The atmosphere of the Xingyi man's body has grown evenly. It is only a moment's time. The atmosphere outside his body has already condensed the essence. Outside his body, like a fire beacon, it forms a crystal-like sword with a height of hundreds of feet. If the same ancient sleeping beast is slowly waking up, a divine might is constantly recovering, such as the same-faced heaven-shaking sword, which is slowly pulling out. Sky Sword Sect. Wei Suo's face is very dark, and after licking the teeth, the void walking step shapeshift great art is moved again, but this time it is not an escape, but instead it is approaching Sword King Old Ancestor. Zheng. On top of the cyan wooden sword in front of Sword King Old Ancestor, a sudden appearance of the golden iron dragon, a sword light, directly from the 100 miles, stifled to the bottle of indestructible clean bottle. Dang! The indestructible clean bottle was almost directly pierced, and Ling Longtian immediately spurred the grey bracelet. It was also a relay that resisted this Xuanhuan. No, you must approach him. Wei Suo is chilly, divine might of Sword King Old Ancestor is recovering, and divine consciousness is far from him. He is now splashing divine consciousness, and the attack range is up to 20,000 feet. There is no shapeshift great art on sword. King Old Ancestor poses any threat. The location of Sword King Old Ancestor is outside his attack range. If you can't approach it, you will fall into a situation where you can only be beaten and finally killed. I will help you block his blow first. You approach him. Ling Longtian also understood the situation before, and between the teeth, she had already swept out, and Wei Suo opened a distance of 5 or 6 feet, blocking Wei Suo's. Shua. A sword light almost instantly smashed, directly breaking the grey light from Ling Longtian, killing Ling Longtian and flying out, blood squirting. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 879. Chapter 879 is a god of decay. Without pop-up windows, thousands of fans have not stopped at the same time online. Wei Suo once again swallowed Immortal King God Crystal, and pushed Qi and Blood and True Yuan all over to the extreme, with red clouds and silver divine light entangled. Move the void walking step shapeshift great art again. Shua. Wei Suo stepped out and crossed the void for more than 10 miles. 2 great treasure. 4 golden core cultivators are hidden in a mountain range far from the secret place. 2 of the 4 golden core cultivators are the 2 Ling Su sects that Wei Suo met in Sunzangui. One of the golden core cultivators, one of them was also directly used by Wei Suo to use the great treasure to take the shapeshift great art. At this moment, the 4 golden core cultivators are extremely stunned. I only think that Wei Suo is like a giant great treasure oven. It is amazingly steaming, like the ancient giant beast of the same giant great treasure in the air. Screaming fiercely. Supreme strong shapeshift great art, unfortunately, you are not my opponent. The Yingwei Tsingyi man who follows the Cyan flying sword in the air, but shook his head slightly, seems to be sighing. Wei Suo divine ability is amazing, but the cultivation base is not enough. Just reaching out, the Cyan wooden sword in front of him suddenly burst into a sword, like a star-studded star territory, and made a move toward Wei Suo. This attack, almost all the people watching the game cannot see anything. To the secret place Xuanhuan, Wei Suo is completely submerged. Ka. The world shook, a white semi-divine mountain of a giant treasure suddenly emerged from the ocean sword light, as if it had broken through one side of the world. 2 unimaginable powerful energies shocked together, and a hill below, from the middle of the mountain, was rushed into fly ash by the powerful energy of Pangret treasure. If the strike collided directly in the Immortal Armor City, I am afraid that half of the Immortal Armor City would be directly labeled as ashes. Like the God King, the red light and the silver divine light shine like the God King. The portable treasure is made from the divine sea. Its posture completely shocks all the cultivators who see this scene. Unfortunately, Sword King Old Ancestor shook his head. Shua. A sword light suddenly emerged out of thin air, and instantly penetrated into the Wei Suo's heart arteries from behind, and from the front of Wei Suo's chest, brought out an amazing blood wave. Cyan wooden sword. The Cyan wooden sword in front of him did not know when he had been hit by him, and a sword penetrated Wei Suo's heart arteries. And the powerful energy on this sword, condense a substantial thin edge, spread along the Wei Suo's heart arteries. It seems that we want to twist Wei Suo's naked body all. Ah! What kind of powerful energy is this? A wave of hand is to shoot a divine sea sword light, a sword will kill a sword like this magic, what kind of existence? All the cultivator scalp bombs that saw this scene, divine soul were shocked to seem to blow out from the top of the head. What happened? How? But all the cultivators' eyes and breathing suddenly stagnate, and every capillary is braving the chill. And the Sword King Old Ancestor that reached out to retrieve the Cyan wooden sword was also wrinkled, and flickered for a moment. Heart arteries Wei Suo, which was completely shattered and broke a bloody hole in the chest, but it did not lose its vitality. The Cyan wooden sword was scattered in the Wei Suo naked body, and it was slower and slower. The amazing shapeshift great art great treasure was eventually worn out. Wei Suo is covered in blood, and the silver divine light on his body is still extremely blazing. Shua. He continued to display the void walking step shapeshift great art again, and instantly crossed the void for more than 10 miles. Sky Sword Sect doesn't have the courage to dare and intercourse with me. Only the dead person you dare to do with me. At the same time as one step, Wei Suo's was once again, and a white Sumi divine mountain was created. At the same time, Wei Suo moved the great treasure by shapeshift great art. Zheng. On the Cyan wooden sword, the dragon's dragonfly was shaken again, and a sword light sprang up, instantly shattering the white Sumi divine mountain, but at the same time, Sword King Old Ancestor stood in the air of the incomparable invincible Cyan figure, but it was also a sudden and fierce shock. There were dozens of blue light that collapsed outside him and disappeared directly into the void. Sword King Old Ancestor has a very surprised look. Hua! An invisible divine might, with his eyes flash, instantly fell on Wei Suo's. Just as the invisible divine might descended onto Wei Suo suddenly shot a strange silver black flat ruler. A faintly stringed light pattern oscillates from the flat ruler. The invisible divine might seems to have reduced a lot of powerful energy by the flat ruler's singular powerful energy, while the staggered orientation is a bit biased, but the edge of the divine might is like the tip of the broom, slightly sweeping Wei Suo's naked body. Pu. Wei Suo's appeared on the naked body with many cracks, and the great treasure vomited blood. This is a heart-warming sword chi, and it is similar to his great treasure by shapeshift great art. With the crushing power, with his current strength, it is almost impossible to resist. If you are a complete flesh, I can't be your opponent at all, but you are just a divine sense, the defense is completely without shapeshift great art and the real body, and divine might has not completely recovered, you are not my opponent. However, Wei Suo's look is very calm, his great treasure is again by shapeshift great art, and the powerful energy of Pang great treasure is once again suppressed on Sword King Old Ancestor. The naked body of Sword King Old Ancestor was once again shocked, but Wei Suo's full-fledged great treasure was pulled by the shapeshift great art, which was led by him and led to the cyan wooden sword in front of him. Ka. The cyan wooden sword was covered with cracks in an instant, but the naked body of Sword King Old Ancestor was not damaged. Boom. At this time, Wei Suo suddenly appeared numerous transparent flying swords, forming a torrent of giant great treasure, like a giant great treasure transparent grinding disc, rotating around Wei Suo. The indestructible clean bottle was once again offered by Wei Suo. Shua. A cold-like sword light emerged from the fingers of Sword King Old Ancestor and broke into the sword flow outside Wei Suo, a surging sound of dang, but at Wei Suo's under the defense, this Xuanhuan is blocked by the indestructible clean bottle. Look at this wooden sword, can help you block many hits, Wei Suo sneer surging sound from the indestructible clean bottle. At the same time, secret place a purple light is also approaching with an astonishing degree. Under the attack of Ling Longtian, the whole body is almost shattered, but the shapeshift great art clothing on the body is not damaged, and at this moment the naked body has also recovered almost. Ka. The cyan wooden sword completely shattered in front of Sword King Old Ancestor and turned into countless pieces of pine branches. How, take your true Yuan, how can it support such loss? In the eyes of Sword King Old Ancestor, there is also an inexplicable horror. What are you doing with these four people? Do you want them to see your divine might with your own eyes? Unfortunately, they can only see your fall. Sky Sword sect puts many innocent cultivators in the demon mark ominous vein, depending on the life of the grass, and the Sky Sword sect will be defeated. Wei Suo dragged countless transparent flying swords and indestructible clean bottles and continued to approach Sword King Old Ancestor. Hong. Divine light was found in the eyes of Sword King Old Ancestor, and all the cultivators of Immortal Armor City were screaming. At this moment, all the cultivators of Immortal Armor City felt the eyes sting and could not open their eyes. Wei Suo's non-starting swords were all broken up, and the indestructible clean bottle was beaten a half. But at the same time, Sword King Old Ancestor was also hit by Wei Suo's great treasure by shapeshift great art. The naked body trembled, giving a feeling of being extinguished like a candle. Ah, Caoyi and others behind Sword King Old Ancestor are all exclaimed. They all feel that if they do so hard, Sword King Old Ancestor's divine might has not fully recovered and will be wiped out by Wei Suo. They are all my descendants, got my sword. Sword King Old Ancestor suddenly condensed in the air, and there was a cyan sword light on his body. He even showed no beginning sword scripture. There were only dozens of cyan Jianguang, but he formed a cyan outside him. The Ring of Gods. You are still a slow step, my divine might is not completely awake, but my consciousness and killing have completely woke up. In the hands of Sword King Old Ancestor, a few brilliances were suddenly played, and the eyebrows of Caoyi and others were captured. Ah! The eyebrows of Caoyi and others suddenly appeared a sword-shaped blood mark, and the moment of a screaming of a surging sound, the eyes were all ecstatic. Transmission. This person passed his sword to these people. Wei Suo instantly saw Sword King Old Ancestor what it was doing. Shua. When Wei Suo and Great Treasure took the shapeshift great art, Sword King Old Ancestor's two eyes suddenly entered the eyes of Wei Suo's. Wei Suo's naked body shocked, his mind was completely shaken by a divine sense of Great Treasure. This moment, like a piece of divine sense of Sword King Old Ancestor, directly hit him. This let him breathe in an instant. Unbelievably, the powerful energy of a giant treasure, instantly turned into a rolling spiritual chi, penetrated into the meridians in his naked body. Just like Sword King Old Ancestor in his naked body, he suddenly entered the spirit pellet with unknown immortal level, True Yuan in his naked body, and the persistent great treasure, which instantly formed a stormy wave. It's like Sword King Old Ancestor, who used a secret place to pass the cultivation base to him, helping him to instantly raise the cultivation base. Sword King Old Ancestor helped me improve my cultivation base. At this moment, Wei Suo couldn't figure out how to do it. This secret place technique is called Aging God. Break your golden core. When you upgrade to Divine Mystic, you will turn into a piece of dead wood. Sword King Old Ancestor some regrets the surging sound of genius, which sounded at this moment. This is not good. Suri King Old Ancestor's surging sound came out, almost the great treasure most of the cultivator, but still can't understand what he meant, but Wei Suo's looks are drastic. Desperate. The secret place of Sword King Old Ancestor is to raise his cultivation base to the golden core, manifestation divine mystic. In other words, the secret place of Sword King Old Ancestor is like directly pushing him to break through divine mystic at this moment. Break through the divine mystic, do not know how much to prepare. If there is no preparation of lust conditions, break divine mystic, almost absolutely all to fall, or physical thoroughly would, become magnetic essence in the dry. There is no possibility of a corpse, because the mummified body of achievement and virtue sect has at least the soul of divine shapeshift, which lives in the treasure great art great secret. Lace shapeshift great art. This is a strong shapeshift great art like Sanking's top. However, the strong shapeshift great art, such as ancient Sanking, is actually using its own cultivation base to upgrade the cultivation base, but this is to specialize in killing, shapeshift great art with the defeat of divine mystic. Ling Longtian also changed his face instantly. Good-looking novels, tell your friends. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 880. Chapter 880 Golden Core Broken. No pop-up window, 10,000 book fans are online at the same time. Sword King wants to kill people, no one can stop in the past, it is impossible for someone to stop now. Sword King Old Ancestor's body is full of unimaginable spiritual fluctuations. It seems that all divine mights have recovered in this moment, all into the Wei Suo's naked body. Wei Suo's face changed dramatically and he was trying to inspire True Yuan, ready to play hidden dragon bead spitting secrets. Under this lust shape, I am afraid that only hidden dragon bead spitting secrets will be played, and the whole body will be closed, so that it is possible not to be forced to directly break through divine mystic. In this kind of lust without any preparation, if you are forced to break through divine mystic, I am afraid that all 10 will fall. But what made his heart completely chilling was that Sword King Old Ancestor broke into Spirit Yuan in his naked body and encouraged True Yuan. It was too violent to completely suppress him, so that he had no shapeshift great art control at all. I can live with my own True Yuan. A raging True Yuan and fine spirits, like the tens of thousands of rivers that converge into the sea, poured into the position among the Wei Suo heart arteries in a very turbulent situation and penetrated into 2 of the giant cores of Wei Suo's. Hong, Hong, Hong. Wei Suo can feel that his golden core powerful energy is constantly expanding, and the golden core is changing the great treasure in an amazing way, but the wall of the entire golden core is getting thinner and thinner. What happened in the end? What kind of divine ability is this? This moment seems to be still. All the cultivators around Immortal Armor City don't know what happened. It's hard to imagine. I just feel that the atmosphere of Weisuo is constantly expanding and growing. Amazing pressure, the heart of the cultivator in the Immortal Armor City battle is about to burst. Ah! Many cultivators are not subject to shapeshift great art at all, and Great Treasure is desperately trying to escape from the distance away from Weisuo and the Sword King Old Ancestor. In the sky, there seems to be a more amazing demon god, born in the birth. I am a god of death, is supreme secret techniques. Not only can you kill you, and after your mortal body turns into wood, refining your essence and divine soul, so I can still exist for 1,000 years, I can shoot again. Sword King Old Ancestor's surging sound came out again. I am your head. Weisuo Great Treasure called, but his true UN was driven by Sword King Old Ancestor, and no shapeshift great art spurred the Great Treasure by shapeshift great art. This person is dead end. Divine might by Sword King Old Ancestor is unimaginable. Sword King, I actually got the sword of Sword King Old Ancestor. The four people behind Cao Yi, behind Sword King Old Ancestor, are extremely excited. In their view, Weisuo's naked body is set in the void, and there is no resistance. It has completely fallen to the end. How? But at this time, Sword King Old Ancestor suddenly had a surging sound of incredible exclamation. Wow, ha ha ha! At this moment, Weisuo suddenly groaned, and then the excited giant treasure laughed. At this moment, the spirit of Sword King Old Ancestor into his naked body has begun to appear exhausted, that is, the power of Sword King Old Ancestor is running out, but Weisuo's golden core is not broken. How, you? Sword King Old Ancestor once again had a breath-like surging sound, as if he had been caught in his throat. Above the top of Weisuo's, there was a tumultuous glow of two great treasures, like two demons with dozens of great treasures from Weisuo's naked body, but they were not completely agglomerated and could not be seen. Produce a naked body. 2. Double golden core. How can you possibly get two golden cores? Sword King Old Ancestor has been shocked by the surging sound. What, two golden core, has this person built two golden cores? What is that? Is it the phantom of two divine mystic shapeshift great art? Did he really build two golden cores and quickly build two divine mystic shapeshift great art? If this person breaks into divine mystic realm, can you make two divine mystic shapeshift great art? Sword King Old Ancestor's surging sound was heard almost throughout the Immortal Armor City cultivator, and almost everyone felt that it was beyond their cognitive range. Haha, thank you for coming to help me improve the cultivation base. Your Sky Sword sect is really the last stepping stone to break through divine mystic. Weisuo is haha great treasure again. The power of Sword King Old Ancestor brings his cultivation base directly to the pinnacle of the Golden Core 5th layer late stage, and only one step away from divine mystic. But the power of Sword King Old Ancestor was exhausted at this point, and no shapeshift great art brought his cultivation base directly to the Golden Core. Immortal Root 5 Secrets, Double Golden Core. It is because of the completion of Weisuo's Immortal Root 5 Secrets, Double Golden Core, and the spiritual chi required to break through the cultivation base, so Sword King Old Ancestor has no shapeshift great art to hit Weisuo to the extent of Golden Core. Sword King Old Ancestor's secret place technique is not only for the cultivator of the Golden Core 5th layer, it seems to be a good one, but after Weisuo's mortal body turns into wood, refining Weisuo's true UN and divine soul, it's for its own use, but Sword King Old Ancestor didn't even think of it. Weisuo's Golden Core is beyond the giant treasure, there are still two. You Sword King wants to kill, today is destined to live well, but unfortunately, it is your Sky Sword sect multi-line injustice, the day to destroy your Sky Sword section. Weisuo looked at the Cyan figure who was trembled and shook his head. Sword King Old Ancestor has been faint, and the power that has entered the Weisuo naked body is now being countered by Weisuo's true UN. After only a dozen breaths, Sword King Old Ancestor is destined to have only two exits. One is that all forces are controlled, refining, or pulled out by Weisuo, but divine might is almost exhausted and will definitely be shii shift by Wei Suo. Great art kills. Sword King Old Ancestor is not good. Sword King Old Ancestor is not far behind Secret Place, Caoyi, and other people's face has completely turned into Snow White but white. If Sword King Old Ancestor fall, then they cannot escape even a few escapes. Is this a destiny? In the eyes of Sword King Old Ancestor, there is also an endless embarrassment, a trace of the end of the breath, from his body, such as the same handle divine weapon, began to decay the soil. People are not as good as days, and they are cheaper than damn swindler towards Wei Suo and Sword King Old Ancestor. In the heart of Ling Longtian, who was approaching, gave a sigh of relief. Ka. But at this time, what everyone did not expect was that it was a sudden change. The strange inexplicable milky white jujube nucleus hanging from the chest of Wei Suo suddenly burst into a broken surging sound. What happened? Wei Suo's naked body suddenly slammed a bit, involuntarily bowed to his chest. The milky white jujube crystal nucleus remaining in the cyan stone sphere that saved him twice was suddenly cracked. The endlessly creamy divine light, with countless optical symbols and an amazing Ponte great treasure, comes from Wei Suo's chest. The eyes of Sword King Old Ancestor and Ling Longtian are completely solidified. The two closest to Wei Suo instantly felt the divine mystic breath of a great treasure. A soft, creamy white divine light's creamy lotus flower blooms in front of Wei Suo's secret place. This lotus flower has 7 petals, each of which has a stunning spiritual chi. The middle of the lotus is a baby sitting on a white snow but white, the divine mystic of the great treasure. From the baby's body, it oscillated. This, Wei Suo's thinking was completely stopped. There was no such thing as shapeshift great art reacting. The smell of this lotus flower and baby from the milky white nucleus of his chest made him feel very heart-wrenching and very dangerous. Almost the first time, he subconsciously tried to spur True Yuan, cast void walking step shapeshift great art, and fled. Very good among my sect, not necessarily someone can make divine mystic so fast, very good, but at this time, the baby's mouth, but suddenly a surging sound is obviously the high-end person to come with the endless majestic surging sound. Shua. All the brilliance, the sky-filled milky divine light, milky white lotus, snow white but white baby, instantly condensed into a divine light, directly flashed into the Wei Suo's heart arteries. Body possession, heaven helps me too. Sword King Old Ancestor among the faint eyes, the light burst instantly. The breath of Wei Suo's body re-expanded, and all the clouds above the entire void were completely shaken by the breath of heaven shaking. The beams of the giant great treasure of the two groups, the sleek hood fell on Wei Suo's. What the damn thing is this? Wei Suo only felt that there was once again the spirit of Pangret treasure, which merged into his own True Yuan, and once again led True Yuan, poured into his heart arteries and penetrated into his 2 golden cores. At the same time, in his consciousness, there is also a figure of cultivator. The cultivator is wearing a moon-white shape-shift great art. The body is full of majesty and seems to break all his divine consciousness. Body possession. This thing, is it a gathering of divine mystic great treasure to complete divine soul? At this moment, Wei Suo also reacted, and the hair was completely erected. Ka. Ka. With the fascinating strength of this amazingly great treasure, Wei Suo's 2 golden cores, with the transformation, 2 golden cores, a huge earthquake in the throne, and hundreds of cracks appear on the surface at the same time. Boom. Boom. The earth vibrate, and there is an astonishing scream in the endless void. The 2 groups of chi flame, which are above the head of Wei Suo, swell again, swell up to a height of several tens of feet, and then begin to condense. A strange variation scenery, floating in the air with the pressure of heaven shaking. Golden core is broken, core chi is rushing, transforming divine mystic. This person is actually at this time, to break through divine mystic. To divine mystic shape-shift great art. All see the cultivator of this scene, All the great treasure mouth, like a dead fish, there is no surging sound. The two groups in the air are scattered with the endless and majestic chi flame. The upper body has been clearly seen. It is two Deo venerables with a slight blue color, and a shapeshift great art garment with a water-like appearance. The face and Weisuo are 7 or 8. Similar, but the lower body is still in the chi flame, there is no manifestation, and the image of the naked body is not really cut. Don't resist, you can't stop me. If you have any last words, you can say something. At this time, Weisuo completely do not know how the outside world changes. He moved from the ling of the great treasure, and invade their naked body within the pang great treasure divine consciousness ideas confrontation, but his way divine consciousness, but he was in the consciousness of the man wearing a white shapeshift great art clothing divine mystic cultivator one by one, his head pain burning with desire at the same time. This name divine mystic great treasure can of some consciousness, also penetrate into his mind. Good looking novels, tell your friends. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 881. Chapter 881 Mortal body turns into wood. No pop-up window, 10,000 book fans are online at the same time. Who are you? Weisuo is still urging the great treasure, otherwise his divine consciousness will be completely destroyed. Shrimp Xuanhuan. Okays. Tell you anyway, this seat is Northern Bright Sect Master Xuanhuan divine mystic great treasure, wearing a moon white shapeshift great art suit, can flash divine light in Weisuo's mind, and it has already taken its place. Northern Bright Sect Master Xuanhuan, Weisuo was shocked and couldn't think too much. I don't think your divine consciousness can support this for a long time. It seems that you have heard of my name. What, you actually have 2 golden cores? Still so Ponte great treasure, what secret do you have for shave shift great art? Suddenly, this name is in the mind of Weisuo's divine mystic great treasure wearing the moon white shapeshift great art and plentiful god as jade, suddenly and incredibly exclaimed a surging sound. So fierce core chi. At this time a surging core chi, with countless natural yun-generated light characters, talisman, has been from the Weisuo 2 golden core of the rift in the rolling out, Kinra Wei's flesh. Suo Wei's flesh also changed dramatically. The first time to Weisuo's feeling, was before his flesh like a rotten wood, got amazing irrigation, become moist, full of spirit rime up. Compared with the amazing core chi infiltration produced by the golden core, the body of the former Weisuo's strong great treasure seems to be like dead wood, that is to say, this golden core breaks through the divine mystic. At the time, Weisuo's flesh was once again amazingly improved. When any cultivator breaks through divine mystic, the flesh will be metamorphosed, and the vitality and toughness of the flesh will be greatly improved by great treasure. Weisuo at the moment, is already in the real breakthrough divine mystic. Mother Hummer. You are not already testing Heaven's Dome powerful energy backlash when you are already testing Heaven's Dome powerful energy. How can you shrink into a crystal stone, you die and die, actually want to take my house? Weisuo couldn't help but break the great treasure. Just in the blink of an eye, he felt the meridians, chi, and blood in his naked body, which had begun to stiffen, with the degree of his perception, layer by layer. When the cultivator breaks a golden core, the core chi of the great treasure may make the cultivator's body moisturize and can't bear the transition. It is like a forest of wood, but now, Weisuo is the 2 golden cores are simultaneously broken, and his core chi is not comparable to the average cultivator. Reassure, since I want to use your body and cultivation base, naturally it won't make you whole body, but it doesn't seem to be what you should be. Xuanhuan seems to have sensed that Weisuo broke through the divine mystic atmosphere and only woke up from the crouching state. Weisuo had been killed with Sword King Old Ancestor before, but he did not react until now. Weisuo is double golden core. Shrimp Xuanhuan. However, he reacted at this moment to Weisuo, which is double golden core. After he was surprised, he was not nervous at all. He was still relaxed and comfortable. Shua. 2 pieces of milky white Xuanhuan flew out of Xuanhuan and entered the Weisuo's golden core, seemingly to pick up something from it. But Xuanhuan's face immediately changed. My feathering origin chi. I can get rid of Mookie core chi and guarantee the breakthrough of Divine Mystic's foolproof origin chi. Say it. What about my feathering origin chi? Xuanhuan suddenly didn't calm down, and desperately yelled in Weisuo's mind, seemingly trying to hold Weisuo's divine consciousness and asking for it. Feathering origin chi? What feathered origin chi? Weisuo stayed, is it the origin chi of Science Stone Sphere? Science Stone Sphere origin chi, you. Are you recultivation golden core? At the same time, Xuanhuan seems to have reacted to what it looks like, and the hysterical great treasure is called. Weisuo also reacted a bit. When the recultivation golden core, the cyan golden core inlay that disappeared with the previous golden core is the feathering of origin chi. Recultivation golden core. You actually recultivation golden core, you have already built golden core, and you will choose recultivation golden core. You are sick Xuanhuan is completely crazy, I am killed by you. Mother Hummer, you are sick. Who wants you to have a body possession, forcing me to break through Divine Mystic? Weisuo is also angry with his eyes. It is obvious that Xuanhuan has broken his golden core and broke through Divine Mystic at this moment, which made the body now behave and will kill him. Xuanhuan actually slammed him and said that he killed Xuanhuan. Now that he has reacted incessantly, Xuanhuan was not completely degraded by Heaven's Dome powerful energy backlash. It should be condensed with such a secret place. The quirky green ball should be waiting for Northern Bright Sect to have a man who is close to Divine Mystic, and then Xuanhuan reborn with body possession. In order to revitalize the sect master, Northern Bright Sect should create a young talent with a natural talent at all costs. Otherwise, the old antique character who is about to fall will not live for a few years after reborn. Xuanhuan is definitely not needed. But this Science Stone Sphere was Li the same year through the inside out, so even caused Northern Bright Sect the overwhelming great treasure search. Just estimate this is Northern Bright Sect is very great treasure hidden secret place, estimated Li that year also just no Science Stone Sphere is Xuanhuan after the fall of the left, presumably just want to get the research, see if you can get what good secret place, but also do not know this is actually like Xuanhuan un fetal, at any time induction has the right person out of the body possession. Now Xuanhuan, who is crouching, senses the breath of Weisuo, and immediately uses the technique body possession, and his surgery's origin chi, could have made the cultivator that breaks Divine Mystic foolproof, that is, his body possession success, it will be a Divine Mystic great treasure right away. But what he didn't even think about was that Weisuo was nothing but a golden cultivator, but it abandoned the golden core cultivation base recultivation cultivator. I am not willing, actually encountered your abnormality like recultivation golden core. Xuanhuan finally suffered without shapeshift great art. The powerful energy from him, which has been infiltrated by core chi, which was broken by Weisuo golden core, has begun to stagnate and become woody. In fact, Weisuo doesn't know that Xuanhuan's feathered origin chi is still used to merge his divine soul with golden core. Without the feathering of origin chi, Xuanhuan can stop Weisuo's mortal body turns into wood. There is no shapeshift great art fusion Weisuo's golden core. Chi. I saw Xuanhuan in the mind of Weisuo, instantly turned into a milky white, and wanted to rush out of Weisuo's naked body. At this moment, Xuanhuan doesn't want a cultivation base at all. He just wants to keep a small life. If he escapes, he can possess a suitable low-grade cultivator. At least he can start from scratch. I still want to go, give me to die. However, when Xuanhuan stopped killing Weisuo's divine consciousness, Wei Suo immediately restored some of the true basic ability in the controlled naked body. Boom, several raging core chi was instigated by Wei Suo, directly Yu Huafan's group of Shenhua was wrapped inside. Ah! Yu Huafan a surging sound screams, a layer of milky white Xuanhua suddenly turned into origin chi, eroded by Wei Suo's core chi, but turned into a part of Wei Suo core chi. The whole group of Shenhua instantly dissipated, and countless crystals scattered. Bright King Induction Scripture. This piece of crystal light is the divine consciousness of Yu Huafan collapse and scattered. One of the divine consciousness crystals is a classic, and it was captured by Wei Suo's divine consciousness. In the mind of Wei Suo's, there was a list of milky white. This seems to be a complete ancient scripture, and the first time to Wei Suo's feels very extraordinary. Even if it is not Yu Huafan's major work, Shapeshift Great Art, it must be a very important inheritance of Northern Bright Sect, otherwise it is impossible to Yu Huafan. Divine consciousness is broken and completely clear when it is completely degraded. But at this moment, Wei Suo has no time to get to know the content of the scripture's naked body. A stunning core chi, which has poured out of the golden core, has made his body start to be wooded. He can already feel it. His own body keeps getting stiff. At this time, Wei Suo body of the breath is still heaven shaking, with the constant gush of core chi. Top of his head of the two divine mystic shapeshift great art body is still born in Yun, heaven shaking scene, unprecedented. He and Yu Huafan is only in his naked body intercourse front. Almost all the cultivator on the sidelines do not know what was born, but Sword King old ancestor but like to know all the changes in the senses. This name divine mystic turned out to be ultimately defeated and killed by you. Unfortunately, your golden core has broken. The flesh has begun to be completely woodized and irreversible. You still have to fall here at this moment. He was in the void, watching Wei Suo, some gratified, and some regrettable. The breath of his body has gradually disappeared, and without the success of Shapeshift Great Art, the lust shape of Wei Suo's powerful energy, Sword King Old Ancestor, the divine sense of divine mystic, is about to dissipate. A peerless the edge is about to disappear completely. Ka. At this time, Wei Suo, who was very ugly, took out a bright yellow medicine pill that was frozen in the mysterious ice and swallowed it all at once. Sword King Old Ancestor. 4 Sky Sword Sect characters such as Cao Yi suddenly had a dazzling great treasure, because they all know what kind of secret place Wei Suo is facing at the moment, but this medicine pill takes a take. Cao Yi etal, but they all felt that the smell of Wei Suo's physical wood seemed to be contained at once. At this moment Sword King Old Ancestor is about to disappear completely, no longer exists. If Wei Suo is safe and sound, it will be a heaven-shaking great treasure for Sky Sword section. They are definitely not able to escape from this secret place, they must be Wei Suo. Kill. No worries. This is Yang Harmony Immortal Pill. The core chi of his 2 golden cores is amazing, but Sword King Old Ancestor is extremely calm. A Yang Harmony Immortal Pill can only delay his mortal body turns into wood and can't let him through it. His mortal body turns into wood. Even if there is a true immortal resurrection, there is no shapeshift great art at all. Mother Hummer, Wei Suo couldn't help but pull out a surging sound. In the same way as Sword King Old Ancestor said, the power of Yang Harmony Immortal Pill instantly melted in his naked body, but melting all the Yang and potency can only delay his mortal body turns into wood. He can feel that the most subtle meridians, blood, chi, and blood in his naked body are becoming a little stiff and irreversible, without the wood of shapeshift great art refining. According to this degree, I am afraid that in as long as 10 days, he will completely become a rigid wooden corpse, and will be cut off and lost. Good Fortune Jade Pond. Only set Shapeshift Great Art to arrange Good Fortune Jade Pond. His heart was filled with the urge to be too vomiting. In his mind, the artificial and virtue sect in Magnetic Essence Mountain instantly appeared like the deadwood, and the ancient tree's corpse, which was the impact of divine mystic, and the mortal body turns into wood, and he saw him. It wasn't long before the Good Fortune Jade Pond was laid out. Now it's my turn to the good fortune jade pond to kill the world. Good looking novels, tell your friends. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 882. Chapter 882 Stepping into Divine Mystic. No pop-up window, 10,000 book fans simultaneously online 882 Chapter into Divine Mystic. Update time 2808:3000 words 3582. VIP Chapter Content, Subscription. Good Fortune Jade Pond is arguably the only hope for Wei Suos. When Ling Longtian saw the record of the Good Fortune Jade Pond left by the Achievement and Virtue Sect Great Treasure in Magnetic Essence Mountain, it was a surprise because of the failure of Ling Longtian to break Divine Mystic. Mortal body turns into wood is bound to fall, there is no way to save. But for Wei Suo, the first thing he has to deal with is the situation at the moment. If there is a bit of a slap in the face of Divine Mystic, then he really has no hope at all, and he will definitely fall here directly. Steel Teeth younger sister, help me with shapeshift great art. After forbearing and swearing, Wei Suo immediately presented the great treasure in his mind. His mind flew calmly, calmed down, and soon became like a clean meteorite. He completely broke through Divine Mystic in the wild without any arrangement, and this secret place was a fierce battle. Many of the messy worlds, Origin Chi, quickly caused a lot of problems when his golden core broke, Divine Mystic manifestation. Heart Demon attacked, countless demons, illusions, manifestation in his mind. Ling Longtian's look is also extremely dignified. Going to the dozens of secret places in front of Wei Suo's, the grey spirit light on his body is the ultimate, as if a grey great treasure umbrella was opened in front of Wei Suo's. He wants to break through Divine Mystic. When you break through Divine Mystic, there is an amazing heart demon attack. From the perspective of the enemy, the grey spirit light of the person we broke without shapeshift great art, and the approach is easy to be directly killed by the kind of shapeshift great art. We are out of surging sound and let him fall directly here. At the sight of this scene, Shiguki, Cao Yi, Xiao Yuhang, and Chen Chen, the top characters of the 4 younger generations of Sky Sword Sect, suddenly called Great Treasure. The surname Wei. You are destined to die. Mortal body turns into wood. Do you still have to do this kind of unnecessary struggle? Any way to go to heaven, before Sword King Old Ancestor, is still destined to be defeated. After waiting for your mortal body turns into wood, our Sky Sword Sect will hang your body in front of the mountain gate to show the majesty. It's the end of the game with my Sky Sword Sect. The surname Wei, if you can still move, obediently kneel down and ask for mercy, then Cao Yi can be the master, bypassing your few Dao companion lives. Think about it yourself. After you fall, no one can protect your Dao companion. What? Wei Suo at this time, although closed eyes, use great treasure, the spirit of stability, an endless heart demon attack against, to make themselves naked inside true Yuan and Qi and blood according to its trajectory flow, undisturbed, but the outside of the surging sound, is also heard clearly. At the moment heard the sentence, his eyes immediately opened, eyes nailed white jade, dressed in white sprinkle gold gown, looks like a handsome son of Cao Yi body. You are Sky Sword Sect. Master true disciple, Cao Yi. Cao Yi was swept away by Wei Suo and was shocked. The volley retreated a few feet. Do you remember that they had been with Lu Xiangcheng, and outside the Heaven's Dome in Spirit Peak City, forced several cultivators to go to Demon Mark Ominous Vein? Wei Suo looked at Cao Yi and said, surging sound. Breaking through Divine Mystic at the moment, 2 golden core chis are constantly coming out. His whole body of true Yuan and the essence of life are all flowing toward the Divine Mystic shapeshift great art above the head. No shapeshift great art is used. Strong shapeshift great art, otherwise he must have used shapeshift great art to kill. So, are there your parents among those cultivators? Cao Yi calmed down. He obviously heard Wei Suo breaking the Sky Sword Sect's Demon Mark Ominous Vein. He had already reacted when his eyes turned. True, as soon as the eyeballs turned, Cao Yi's face suddenly showed a very sinister smile. Even if your parents are dying from our hands, what about, you are not going to fall here, I am not okay here, and I got Sword King Old Ancestor True Biography, the future is limitless, you still obediently kneel down and ask me, otherwise I cannot guarantee that you will not deal with your several Dao companion. Cao Yi's mind is obviously very sinister and treacherous. At this time, it is obvious that Wei Suo was deliberately stimulated, so that Wei Suo could not directly control True Yuan, and no shapeshift great art suppressed the flow of core qi. Let you be crazy. I let you die directly here. Ling Longtian's face was extremely cold, and she directly rubbed her teeth toward Cao Yi and others. She felt that Cao Yi could not be called here at all, otherwise Wei Suo must be affected by great treasure. Immortal King knows the sword, send me the way back. Dressed in Xing Yi, Sword King Old Ancestor, who looks invincible in the air, finally looked at Wei Suo and finally bid farewell to the opponent. Immediately, his naked body became a number of Cyan Jianguang, forming a piece of Jianguang Divine Sea, wrapped Cao Yi and others into the void. Ha 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 ha, Cao Yi's mad laughing surging sound is revealed in a piece of Jianguang Divine Sea. You have the ability to kill me, unfortunately, you don't have such an opportunity at all. Shua. Cyan Jianguang Divine Sea disappeared completely, and Cao Yi and others seemed to be directly hit back into the Sky Sword sect by Sword King Old Ancestor's last Dao technique Shapeshift Great Art. 2. Ling Longtian was mad at Cao Yi and rolled one's eyes. Damn swindler! How goes it? She immediately shouted at Wei Suo. Fortunately, I will not die for a while. Wei Suo's god lust is much more calm than Ling Longtian imagined. After the transmission of the Ling Longtian sound transmission, Wei Suo looked up at the sky and looked at his two divine mystic shapeshift great art, while doing his best to motivate core qi in his own naked body, crazy to wash away from immortal King God Crystal and Miashu. When the golden core broke, core qi instantly smashed his body, and when he first made his body metamorphose, he already felt it. The core qi, which broke out of the golden core, washed the effect of the wonderful tree fragments. I don't know. It is tens of thousands of times stronger than the ordinary qi and blood. It is not difficult to understand that the golden core itself is the essence of a cultivator. Ka. The two golden cores in his naked body completely broke the wall, and the two golden cores no longer exist. At the same time, the immortal King God Crystal and the wonderful tree fragments in his naked body were all shattered. Immortal King God Crystal and the piece of wonderful tree in his naked body, all refining. The breath on his body is once again great treasure. Boom! Boom! The heavens and the earth vibrate again, and the ground within the range of 1,000 miles and the minds of all cultivators are trembled violently. Nearly all the spiritual qi and true yuan in the core qi and Wei Suo naked body of Pang great treasure all poured into the two divine mystic shapeshift great art on the top of Wei Suo. The two divine mystic shapeshift great arts have been condensed to a height of several tens of feet, but this time, the two divine mystic shapeshift great art are instantly shrunk, condensed, and become only about 5 feet high. Only so small, looking up at two of divine mystic shapeshift great arts Wei Suo, they suddenly rolled over the roll one's eyes. Like a lot of things, it's not a great treasure, Ling Longtian is also a bit itch, can't wait to go and lick him. At this time, Wei Suo is still struggling with the great treasure of his divine mystic shapeshift great art. And in Ling Longtian's view, Wei Suo's two condensed divine mystic shapeshift great art is already amazing. Wei Suo's these two divine mystic shapeshift great art are all blue, very crystal clear, condensed like the hardest great treasure stone, but the naked body flashes a layer of purple glow, forming behind it. A circle of purple discs with clouds rising above, showing the variation scenery purple chi from divine mystic shapeshift great art. In the naked body of the two divine mystic shapeshift great art, there are countless silver flashes, like thousands of stars are flashing, and there seems to be a little different gray-black brilliance, such as the same round of meniscus, divine day of the star. This is also the variation scenery that shows divine mystic shapeshift great art. The appearance of the two divine mystic shapeshift great art is almost identical, just the same as Wei Suo's face, just wearing a star crown, a fairy dress, and a more majestic image of Wei Jun than Wei Suo, but these two the Deo Venerable is surrounded by a white heavenly dragon with a 72-piece lotus stand. The general divine mystic shapeshift great art body, the Taoist cultivator, even if it is pedaling, it is also rock, bottle gourd, ruyi, etc., while the foot lotus platform, but with the Supreme Buddha strong shapeshift great art, also that is to say, the great treasure with eyesight can see the shape of the shapeshift great art of Wei Suo at a glance. What's more, the white ancient heavenly dragon, which is surrounded by Wei Suo divine mystic shapeshift great art, is still a real day of dragon chi, supreme is majestic and tremble. In addition, on top of the two divine mystic shapeshift great art, there is a supreme melody, which seems to have a constant sound from the endless void. Divine mystic variation scenery is just as amazing, but Wei Suo's divine mystic shapeshift great art is a variety of variation scenery. In the ancient cultivation world, the divine mystic shapeshift great art will be the reputation is the spice shift great art. Just forming, mortal body turns into wood, blocked the success of the divine mystic change, but at the moment, only Wei Suo knows that he is now completely in the same lust shape as the achievement and virtue sect great treasure. He can now say that he knows the most about the state of the achievement and virtue sect great treasure. Originally divine mystic shapeshift great art body condense, and when the golden core finally condensed, and the final step, from the cultivator naked body and surrounding world, absorbing the great treasure amount of origin chi. But this mortal body turns into wood is stopping this divine mystic realm equivalent to this step. That is to say, he is now a divine mystic cultivation base, which has been qualitatively changed, but equito to a person with some bones, meridians, skin, flesh and blood, but the chi and blood in the naked body is still not fully complemented. Divine mystic shapeshift great art is the ultimate condense, and there will be heaven shaking's collection of origin chi and manifestations variation scenery. It is said that origin chi and the light in the void will be condensed to form a giant great treasure. God King is coming. But at the moment his breath and power shake the world, but the variation scenery is still not excited. That is to say, if he can arrange the success of the creation of Xianke, the final step will be completed, and the powerful energy of his divine mystic shapeshift great art will definitely expand further. It was this kind of sentiment that made him look at his divine mystic shapeshift great art when he finally condensed. But he is also very happy at the same time, because he also feels, and thanks to the wonderful changes of mortal body turns into wood, blocking the final step of divine mystic metaphysics, otherwise he must be directly on the spot. Because he feels that the final step, including his physical changes and the final step of the change in position, the required spiritual chi will be exceptionally amazing. I am afraid that at this moment, all the water attribute monster core and the spiritual herb that were originally accumulated to prepare for the breakthrough of divine mystic are not enough. Divine mystic shapeshift great art body transformation, like the ant-antification dragon, once again step into the sky. From the ordinary cultivator to the incomprehensible environment, the powerful energy from every move is very different, and the more divine mystic shapeshift great art is, the required origin chi is multiplied. With the insights of the breakthrough, Wei Suo is very clear that his original estimate is far from enough, because I am afraid that divine mystic shapeshift great art with no other cultivator can be with his divine mystic shapeshift great art for 10 years. In comparison, and his divine mystic shapeshift great art body, still too chi. Just as Wei Suo's thoughts turned, a white long scroll of amazing water spirit chi emerged from the hands of one of divine mystic shapeshift great art. One of divine mystic shapeshift great art has a long scroll in his left hand and a little more aura. The scent of the giant treasure, which was shaken in the air, was completely stabilized. The life of Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, that white long roll is one of his life, Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. Dear God, this person actually built two divine mystic Shapeshift Great Art. Two divine mystic Shapeshift Great Art bodies, the first person in the ages, it's just that his mortal body turns into wood is blocked by Shapeshift Great Art, and it's finally going to fall soon. All seeing the cultivator of this scene, the mind has been shocked to complete numbness. How long can your body last, seeing that Wei Suo has clearly completed the divine mystic metamorphosis? Ling Longtian immediately is keying with sound transmission. Good-looking novels, tell your friends. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 883. Chapter 861. Update time 2011-11-1020210000 word count 3140. VIP chapter content, subscription. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian are exactly like being in an ancient teleportation circle. Su Shenjun's magical technique opened a space channel, which is likely to be like the battle of the immortal sect master and Su Shengxiu and Wang Wu. At the same time, they should be brought into the mountain gate. I'll break this teleportation channel. A gray aura emerged from the Linglong heavenly body and flowed to countless streamers around. When this technique came out, although Wei Suo was taken aback, he didn't panic, because Ling Longtian had shown this kind of magic before. It's not so easy to break my true Wuxing gate. Su Shenjun's Shen Xianfa body suddenly appeared at one end, and a bright daolian struck it, dispelling most of the gray aura on Ling Longtian's body. Dead prophet merchant, hurry up. Ling Longtian's face was very ugly for a moment. This kind of transmission channel was imminent. She was blocked by Su Shenjun, and she couldn't break this transmission channel at all. If she was taken into the gate of Jinwuzong Mountain, she and Wei Suo were more and more fierce. Go to death. Wei Suo directly moved the multiplication sound. Su Shenjun's divine profound Fa Xiang once again appeared a lot of debris-like brilliance, shaky, apparently. The impact of this technique and Wei Suo's previous Mahayana sound also brought him considerable damage, but his spell casting there is no pause, still hitting at a lian towards Ling Long sky. Do you think you can be invincible if you have this technique? When you come to the gate of Jinwuzong Mountain, I will let you know what life is better than death at the same time, Su Shenjun sneered. In his opinion, as long as he kept casting spells, Wei Suo and Ling Longtian can't break the transmission channel of Jinwu Stargate at all. Laugh. But at this moment, a whitish-white brilliance was excited from Wei Suo's hands. The whitish-white brilliance was like a white damask, but the front end was in the shape of countless old ghosts. Of the god profound law. What? Su Shenjun suddenly made a scream, and Shen Xianfa flew backwards. Why, I thought you could stop the spell casting, and I let you keep casting the spell. Wei Suo showed no mercy, and was ready to use the Dakin sound again, hitting Su Shenjun who flew backwards. Only then did he directly arouse the magic weapon with the name of 10 years of closed-door fire and hit Su Shenjun. But at this moment, Ling Long Heaven had already moved with all his strength, and layers of grey aura light wrapped them in it. Boom, countless mysterious streamers suddenly shattered, squeezed by infinite force in all directions. Ling Longtian just hummed out, the countless streamers around disappeared, and the infinite surging power disappeared instantly. A guy with a double mystery also has this mystery. Your current monastic world, there are not many powerful magic weapons, but the escaped things are actually more magnificent. Some blood shot out, suffered some damage. This is, Wei Suo was a little stunned. He and Ling Longtian shot out of the transmission channel, and they just happened to fall outside a city and seemed to be a place for free repair market. The city not far away is built on the same mountain as Lingyu City, and the scale looks only about the same size as Lingyu City. At this moment, in the open space outside the city, in the free trading market with many stalls, there were probably more than 100 monks, all looking at him and Ling Longtian with some dumbfounded. Many who are closer to Wei Suo and Ling Longtian are already scared. I don't know how Wei Suo and Ling Longtian suddenly emerged from the void. What is this place? Wei Suo glanced at Ling Longtian, and after confirming Ling Longtian's injury was not serious, he immediately looked at a sharp-faced middle-aged man in a black leather robe, who was scared and stupid. This is Jinlu City. The man with the sharp face shuddered, replying somewhat reflexively. The breath on Wei Suo let everyone present know that it was definitely not a monk of their rank. Jin Lukang? To be more specific, that continent. Wei Suo's eyes flashed, and there was no impression in his mind of this place. This. When Wei Suo asked which continent, these monks who were present were even more horrified. The pointed-faced middle-aged monk did not dare to neglect, and immediately replied, "Our Jinlu city is located in the west of the Tianqian continent. The nearest for the individual cities are the ancient Gold City, Huafan City, Hongmeng City, and Sanbao City." Wei Suo suddenly rolled his eyes. Tianqian continent. He and Ling Longtian had finally crossed the wilderness from the northern part of the Tianqian continent and rushed to the Yunling continent, but now they have been brought back to the Tianqian continent by Su Xianjun. He had never heard of this Jinlu city, but he knew very well in Sanbao City. 3 treasures used to produce Wuxiang iron that can be used to refine magic weapons, and 2 kinds of spirit grass that can be used to match the demon to refine Lingdan. The 3 things are collectively called 3 treasures. This city is located on the border between the west and the middle of the Tianqian continent. After Wei Suo asked about his position again, he did not enter the city. He directly glanced at the angel of Ling Long, and did not enter the city. He flew away directly with the aura of aura, very speechless. "You're back to your hometown, what are you going to do now?" Ling Longtian Xuanhuan asked Wei Suo. Besides hitting the Jinwu sect master Su Xianjun this time, it didn't take a particularly large advantage. If he could kill Su Xianjun, and he could also chase down the batch of Jinwuzong and Tianjianzong old antique characters, maybe a small sum. Damn, I was beaten back to Tianqian continent again. Wei Suo was obviously very depressed. He shouted at first, and then said, "Anyway, he has already returned." He simply helped the old man in green robe to find his coagulation office. "What you need, there is also a trip to Wuji Tiangong. Do you want to see the bizarre bluestone?" said by real man Yahuang. Ling Longtian's eyes narrowed slightly, and immediately knew Wei Suo's intention. The piece of bluestone described by real man Yahuang is difficult to invade by external forces, and the inner stone pattern looks like a pattern or a peculiar rune classic. This piece of bluestone must have some mystery, which is very extraordinary. At present, Huang Puju has fallen, and Su Xianjun cannot be shot for a while. Counting Wei Suo's enemy in Tianqian continent, only Ye Xiancheng is a threat to them, and the magic powers of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian are just Ye Xiancheng alone. I am afraid that they are not their opponents at all. Coupled with the fact that the body of the sect master of merit has not yet been reorganized, the sect master of Dengxian sect was also hit hard. At this time, it is indeed the best time for Wei Suo to walk in Tianqian continent. According to Su Xianjun, he was taken back to the Tianqian continent. The fire was closed in 10 days, this kind of thing actually still spreads. Asterisk, it is really time for me to consolidate, otherwise the ghost tank is too easy to beat, and I will be broken if I accidentally make it impossible for me to watch the drama. After Wei Suo was summoned from the ghost pot he took out, and after roughly explaining the current situation, the old man in green robe was also very excited. Before the reincarnation of the body, the patriarch of the merits may be afraid of our strength and do not dare to take any actions, but after reshaping the body, we must definitely find trouble for us. So the sooner the matter ends, the better. We have to do it as soon as possible. Hurry back and meet with Jia and them. Old man, I found a piece of colored stone for you last time. What is the main material for your solidification, and where is the most likely to be found? After roughly explaining the current situation, Wei Suo immediately looked at the old man in green robe and asked. Now that he was taken back to Tianqian continent anyway, Wuji Tiangong is definitely going to go once, and the next step is to plan the route of walking on Tianqian continent according to what the old man in green robe solidified. The main materials of the condensed form are Yuxianko, Jinwuguo and Yingxingxi. The old man in green robe said immediately, Yuxianko is the main material for refining Yuetan. Although it is rare, it is not like purple. Fox flowers are as rare, and although there are not many silver starstones, they are usually of little use. At most, they are used to refine some spells. These two things were produced in the vicinity of Panwang City in the past, and they are likely to remain. As for Jin Wukuo, that is one of the materials for refining Jadudeo-dan. I have checked the classics before, and the recipe of Jadudeo-dan has been lost. This thing may be a little rare. Panwang City? Then let's go to Panwang City first, try to find these things, and then go to the mountain gate of Wuji Tiangong. Wei Suo groaned slightly, and then made a decision. The mountain gates of Panwang City and Wuji Tiangong are not smooth, but Panwang City is located east of the west of Tianqian continent, more than 20 cities away from where they are now, much closer than the mountain gate of Wuji Tiangong. After the agreement was reached, Wei Suo pointed out his direction and drove towards the ancient Jinqing nearest to Jinlu City. In order to not easily reveal the hidden possessions, Wei Suo and Ling Longtian did not directly transfer through the Jinlu King's teleportation circle, and at this moment, Wei Suo did not display any magic tricks, but only used hidden secrets and several hidden magic weapons to hide. Breath, slightly disguised. In this way, Wei Suo felt that it was enough to give Jin Wuzong and Suan Fengmen face, and did not want to cause more trouble. If Jin Wuzong and Suan Fengmen still find him in trouble, then he can only be polite. 2. The northern sky dome actually broke another 2. When entering the ancient gold city, he began to transfer by means of the teleportation circle, and when he was moving towards the destination Panwang City, he listened to the conversation of the monks along the way. Wei Suo, Ling Longtian, and the old man in the green robe also knew that the sky dome in the northern part of the Tianqian continent during the period when Wei Suo left Tianqian continent, actually cracked 2 more openings. Moreover, there is no sect gate in the northern part of the Tianqian continent so far. All the sect gates of the Tianqian continent only regard the northern part of the Tianqian continent as a wilderness and a hunting ground for hunting demon. With the teleportation circle, it was only half a day away. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian passed through more than 10 cities in a row, but in Gilu City, which is still a halfway away from Panwang City, Wei Suo suddenly stopped. Walked towards the corner of the street all the way. What's wrong? Ling Longtian and the old man in green robe were very strange and couldn't help asking at the same time. What they are talking about may be related to someone I knew before, Wei Suo replied, striding forward. He was facing the corner of the street where he was walking, and there were 3 or 4 practitioners who only had the 3 or 4 levels of Shenhai realm. What's more, let's see what chapters have been updated in the most popular other novels. Chapter 861 returns to the original novel with the fastest text update. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 884. Chapter 884 is unscrupulous. No pop-up window, 10,000 fans are online at the same time, he has to leave. How many days can he still live? What does he want to do? All the cultivators around Immortal Armor City are afraid to have any movements, and are guessing the status of Wei Suo's and the following whereabouts. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian plunged directly into the Immortal Armor City, joined with Yegu Wei and others, and entered the transmission of the Shapeshift Great Art in Immortal Armor City. Is there a Good Fortune Jade Pond that can resolve this robbery? Place Good Fortune Jade Pond in Heavenly Scale City. Hearing that Good Fortune Jade Pond could resolve Wei Suo's mortal body turns into wood, Yegu Wei and others were a little relieved, but after hearing that Wei Suo planned to place Good Fortune Jade Pond in Heavenly Scale City, it was all taken aback. Because Heavenly Scale City is adjacent to the Heavenly Sword City where Sky Sword Sect is located, it is only about 8,000 miles away, and Heavenly Scale City itself is a city under the jurisdiction of Sky Sword Sect. Next, I and Ling Longtian will attack the Sky Sword Sect, and the attention of Heavenly Profound Continent and even Cloud Spirit Continent will be focused on us. Your cultivation base is not high, and it is very convenient to hide. It is not very popular. But Good Fortune Jade Pond is my only chance. I can't have any mistakes. It's laid out under our eyes, it's safer. Everyone thought that I was doomed to fall, and the last madness, they would never have thought that I would attack Sky Sword Sect while arranging Good Fortune Jade Pond around Sky Sword Section, and I attacked Sky Sword Section. Everyone thought that my last madness, Sky Sword Sect was the safest, and there would be no great treasure to run, and my last crazy cultivator desperately. Good Fortune Jade Pond, don't reveal any news, Brother Wei, you must be careful. Yes, Yao Zheng and others are extremely dignified, knowing that Wei Suo is also equivalent to putting half-life intercourse in their hands. This is Supreme Pure Spirit Light World, which can be combined with Shapeshift Great Art. These things, you take it, you can guarantee your safety. Let you find the people who set up Good Fortune Jade Pond. Wei Suo has sent several copies of Shapeshift Great Art that will not be exposed to him, as well as almost all of the spiritual stones on his body, many of them from the sect master and old antique cultivators, all above Dao rank. Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, intercourse to Yes Yao Zheng et al. Then after more than 10 cities, I separated from Yes Yao Zheng and others. Yes Yao Zheng and others concealed their identity and looked for some of the auxiliary spiritual herbs needed for the purchase of Good Fortune Jade Pond by the Great Treasure Market. They also secretly acquired the water attribute monster core and hired some caravans according to Wei Suo's instructions to Wei Suo. Bring the restrictions Jade Talisman for Sea Immortal Sect to Sea Immortal Sect. What? This person is going to attack the Sky Sword Sect Mountain Gate. This person is the last crazy. He and the Grey Sword Sect Mountain Gate have great treasure. Mortal body turns into wood is also caused by Sky Sword Sect, before the fall, is to want to destroy Sky Sword Sect. Dear God! Does he want to use one person's power to destroy a level of great sect? This person has been made into double divine mystic and has been said to be heaven level top rank, shapeshift great art, shocking and stunning, but it still has to fall. The match between Wei Suo and Yu Huafan is all in the naked body. Except for Immortal King Old Ancestor, I don't know anyone at all, but his match with Immortal King Old Ancestor, condense heaven shaking double divine mystic, mortal body turns into wood, the soon-to-be declined thing, has been passed through in an instant, shocking the entire heavenly profound continent. The degree of intercourse between the cultivators and the degree of spread is not even slower than that of Wei Suo and Ling Longtian rushing to Sky Sword Section. Some of the cities along the way, have not heard the news from the city pool in the Wei Suo route, have been heard from other cities around. Coupled with the lack of divine mystic on Wei Suo, many cultivators are now on Wei Suo's wherever they are. Many people are now, and many news are coming out. Wei Suo is approaching the Sky Sword Sect. Soon, there is a more shocking news spread. It is said that Wei Suo personally sent a message on the way, saying that it would kill Sky Sword Sect directly. And Wei Suo also said in person that to let True Martial Sect Master Su Shenjun and Mystic Wind Sect Master Ye Xiancheng not to shrink, to make a tortoise, and to go to the front of Sky Sword Sect, fight him. At the same time, Wei Suo also sent a message to Jade Heaven Sect's true treasure, Grand Treasure Disciple Feng Wukang, to see him in front of Sky Sword Sect. I don't know what it meant. Almost all of the buildings are built in the city of Jade, and a blazing brilliance suddenly illuminates, crossing the void, bringing up the overwhelming pressure. The scale of the city is great treasure to the 3-story Spirit Peak City. The scale is not small. The whole city is spread out on a yellow earth plain. At the southernmost tip of the city, there is a great treasure piece like the palace. Temples, many of them towering like a mountain, the momentum is extraordinary. The blazing brilliance just flashed twice in the air, and it was in front of this great treasure film. Weisuo is in front of the mountain gate of moon-pulling palace. What does he want to do? Many cultivators in the city are constantly inhaling, looking at the two figures that reveal the reveals. The city is called Moon-Pulling City and is a secret place on the way to the Sky Sword sect from the Immortal Armor City. The city that is in charge of the city is the Moon-Pulling Palace and a sect close to Yin Corp's sect. At this moment, it is Weisuo and Ling Longtian who stayed in front of the Moon-Pulling Palace. Oh! Just as Weisuo and Ling Longtian approached the Moon-Pulling Palace, the void shook, and there were countless beams of light in the entire Moon-Pulling Palace. Over the Moon-Pulling Palace, a giant great treasure with a diameter of hundreds of feet was formed. Bright moon! Remove restrictions and let me take what I want, otherwise I will sweep the mountain gate. Weisuo's surging sound is rolling, and the endless divine might is shuddering. He really wants to deal with Mystic Wind sect. Most great treasure. Most cultivators responded immediately. Domineering Reverend, no, domineering Divine Lord is in front of the Moon-Pulling Palace and wants to pick up the Moon-Pulling Palace. The explosive news immediately spread. Moon-Pulling Palace is a sect attached to Mystic Wind section. It is actually a branch of equivalent to Mystic Wind section. Weisuo is going to enter the Moon-Pulling Palace to search for things. It is obvious that even Mystic Wind sect has to deal with it. We are going to save the moon and you have no innocence, and you say that you want to sweep the mountain gate. Too much to deceive people. After the sound of Weisuo's surging sound, among the Moon-Pulling Palace, countless escape light rises up, and a middle-aged cultivator wearing a golden jade clothing shows a figure from a high hall. Great treasure below the moon, confrontation with Weisuo. I don't have time, don't talk nonsense with me. Weisuo swept the air of the man and the door of the Moon-Pulling Palace, staying in the air, and at least thousands of Moon-Pulling Palace cultivators. Mystic Wind sect is my great treasure enemy. I don't want to kill more. I just want to take it. Deferred things. Get rid of restrictions, or I will do it right away. Let us give our hands out of the mountain gate, letting you take it, it's just a dream. The middle-aged cultivator became extremely cold and reached out, offering a multicolored jade bottle gourd. If you are coming. OM. The virtual sound of a surging sound, Weisuo has no shreds of nonsense, like the God King, directly hit two giant treasures of the White Sumi huge mountain, and down the Moon-Pulling Palace. My Moon-Pulling Palace is also 1,000 years of accumulation, and it is really a delusion to rely on one person's strength and want to break through it. The three faces are haze, the old man like a dead body appears at the same time, while the three splendid light enters the Moon-Pulling Palace central region, a secret place. White hood is covered with the blue of at least 5 people. Among the color crystal columns. Hong. The giant great treasure above the Moon-Pulling Palace rises and rises with the two White Sumi huge mountains shot by Weisuo, as if the two worlds collided. Ah! The 3 old men who had a well-being before the breath were also shocked by the great treasure, and they were called great treasure. The giant great treasure of the moon was directly shattered by 2 White Sumi huge mountains shot by Weisuo. Upgrading divine domain. The middle-aged cultivator flew backwards, and a cyan ancient array plate emerged in front of him, with a huge great treasure. Cyan divine light, greeted the 2 White Sumi huge mountain. Ka. Cyan divine light's powerful energy is still above the giant great moon, with a unique shapeshift great art power, clearly comprehending the restrictions that divine marks divine mystic great treasure can leave. The 2 White Sumi huge mountain were blocked by cyan divine light, which could not be crushed and collapsed in the air. Shua. With more than 500 Moon-Pulling Palace cultivators, under the command of an unruly black man, both shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art great treasure, formed an amazing tide, completely not divine consciousness locked. It was a full-blown blow, and it was overwhelmingly directed at Weisuo and Ling Longtian. These cultivators are at best only the cultivation base of the thought division realm, but the numerous origin chi forces are superimposed and overlapped, and the power is also heaven-shaking, unimaginable. You can't break the mountain gate of my moon-pulling palace. You still don't have to work hard to retreat yourself. The middle-aged cultivator has sneered. The three old people, like the dead bodies, were also calmed down and looked cloudy. Really? But letting all of them be discolored is that Weisuo once again hit two white sumi huge mountain, and at the same time, the amazing silver divine light emerged, and countless red blood swells and slams down. At the same time, several annihilation golden cores flew out of Weisuo's, and a violent explosion came. The giant grease of the moon and the sea of divine light, all of which were all shattered. Ah! An old man's hands were out of two blood-colored phoenix splendid light, and he wanted to break into a picture, but at this moment, a purple light rushed into the flames of Haoshan and rushed to his side. Ka! The old man's flames were extinguished, and the underground image was grayed out, and one foot slammed, all shattered. Ling Longtian, who is now the original film, put this old man in his hands. At the same time, Weisuo showed two divine mystic shape-shift great art pieces of the giant treasure, like two demon gods, carrying the white sumi huge mountain and stepping in from above. Numerous temples were instantly turned over and the powerful energy shook 4 times. Ah! We surrender. Divine Lord opens the net. A 5-color true fire in the 5-color bottle gourd in front of the middle-aged cultivator in jade clothing was also smashed by a smashing wave of divine mystic shape-shift great art in Weisuo. The middle-aged cultivator and the many cultivators of the moon-pulling palace all stunned the surging sound. No coffin, no tears. Weisuo out surging sound, and Ling Longtian kept walking through the moon-pulling palace. He didn't kill these cultivators. He just kept these cultivators and found them on shape-shift great art great treasure and treasure receiving pocket. The forbidden land of the moon-pulling palace was opened one by one, and the spiritual stones and the spicy herb inside were all searched by Weisuo and Ling Longtian. Sky Sword Sect, I must sweep your mountain gate. When Weisuo and Ling Longtian left the moon-pulling palace, they had surging sound. What? Weisuo broke the moon-pulling palace and almost completely emptied the moon-pulling palace's collection. This person is really dead, no worries, completely crazy. This person has been completely bitten. It seems that as long as he is enemies with him, sect under Mystic Wind sect and True Martial sect, he will not let go. The news came out that the entire heavenly profound continent vibrated. What? Weisuo entered the Crow's Gate, swept the monster core of the Crow's Gate and many of the spiritual herbs in the Lingyuan. This is nuts, he is really unscrupulous. The real great treasure cabinet has also been searched. Soon, there was an amazing news. The Crow's Gate and a great treasure-style city under True Martial sect did not dare to rebel against Weisuo's divine might. Weisuo entered and took a lot of things. How can I not get the divine mystic great treasure from Mystic Wind sect and True Martial sect? Crap, he is going to fall, he is so crazy, who wants to work hard with him, and his double divine mystic is desperate, and which divine mystic has a full grasp? If you change it to divine mystic great treasure, will you go with him? Even if there are 3 divine mystic great treasures, it is impossible to show up at this time. It will definitely be dead, and he will finally be crazy. Numerous cultivator discuss spiritedly, no one at Mystic Wind sect and True Martial sect blocked Weisuo. Bright King induction scripture, it turned out to be such an ancient scripture. At this time, Weisuo and Ling Longtian have only had more than a dozen cities from Sky Sword section along the way. Weisuo was obsessed with the ancient scripture left by Yu Huafan while doing the robbery along the way to True Martial sect and Mystic Wind sect section. The looting along the way gave him a resource of great treasure. In addition to some useful water attribute monster core and spiritual herb, many of them have not even been counted. He knew that the more like a red-eyed beast, the more he was the last madness, and all his opponent did not dare to show up. It is even impossible to appear in an area that may be traced by him, so the more crazy, the more secure it is. This kind of naked robbery, so that the other party's great treasure cannot show up at all, can only pretend to die and eat dumb loss feeling, it is too cool. At this moment, he also thoroughly realized the ancient scripture of Northern Bright sect master Xuanhuan. Good-looking novels, tell your friends. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 885. Chapter 885 Foot Heavenly Sword City. Northern Bright sect master Xuanhuan. The real cultivation base before the fall, Wei Suo, is unknown. But before listening to Shui Linger and Yu Feng Reverend, the divine ability of Northern Bright sect master Xuanhuan may be above the divine ability of Mystic Wind sect master and others. Judging by this, Xuanhuan is at least the cultivator above divine mystic third layer. The deepest post of ancient scripture, originally Wei Suo, is not the main work of shapeshift great art. It is very likely to be a light and lightning. Waning moon, Mt Sumi great lifting. The same supreme attack is strong shapeshift great art. But this bright king induction scripture is a great treasure out of Wei Suo's. This turned out to be a secret place shapeshift great art that can sense the shapeshift great art inner chi and sense the powerful energy track. In short, this secret place shapeshift great art can sense the change in the scent of a cultivator, so that some of the trajectories of the other part of the shapeshift great art are sensed in advance. This is an amazing secret place for an enemy. It is possible to sense the trajectory of the powerful energy in advance, and it is very likely to directly evade, and this secret place shapeshift great art can also sense the breath of the spatial shapeshift great art great treasure. Wei Suo's current divine consciousness itself is far from the same cultivator, and there is the secret place technique. Many powerful energy of shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art great treasure, I am afraid it will flash directly. It is said that Northern Bright sect is the oldest sect of the entire heavenly profound continent. This secret place is completely comparable to the void walking step shapeshift great art. After thoroughly understanding this mysterious scripture, Wei Suo was very surprised and tried to display the shapeshift great art. Shua. Also in Wei Suo's eyebrows, if there is a round of purple sun rising, it seems to be transparent in the eyes of Wei Suo's great treasure. Sure enough, heaven shaking strong shapeshift great art, no wonder Xuanhuan is dying to remember this scripture. Remember this. Wei Suo took a deep breath, after the purple sun was released, and the golden gods from the secret place shapeshift great art from true immortal divine mark, they existed in the eyebrows of the eyebrows and will not disappear for a while. That is to say, this kind of shapeshift great art does not need to be used from time to time in the shapeshift great art. It will sacrifice the shapeshift great art before the enemy, and will not affect the other shapeshift great art when it is against the enemy. Because of the breakthrough of divine mystic, the true Yuan in the Wei Suo naked body is like a piece of heaven and earth, with an amazing thickness, coupled with the Earth Mother ancient scripture, so I don't have to worry about the loss of true Yuan. I will use this shapeshift great art all the way. Take the Sky Sword sect gate. And suddenly, there are 5 ancient cities in the city of Heavenly Sword. Wei Suo's purple sun in the eyebrows suddenly bursts into a bright treasure. In Wei Suo's mind, there is a clear trajectory. This kind of induction without shapeshift great art shows that a powerful energy of a strong great treasure is coming from the void in the back of him. Pu. I thought that the bloody knife light suddenly came out of the void without warning, passing through a layer of cocky spirit light from Wei Suo, killing in his left rib secret place, and taking a gliding blood light. Don't panic, the other party should know this level of powerful energy. No shapeshift great art kills us, it's just a temptation. Wei Suo's left rib was cut out of a giant great treasure wound, and the guild suffered a great treasure damage, but he also had a fast sound transmission to the startled Ling Longtian ear. Bright King induction scripture is extremely amazing. With this shapeshift great art, he not only presensed the trajectory of this shot, but also induced that the powerful energy of this blow is not enough to pose a fatal threat to him. It should only be a temptation, so he basically, if you don't want to be overexposed, you can pretend that you don't know and bear this blow. Otherwise, relying on Bright King induction scripture and void walking step shapeshift great art, he is afraid that he can directly escape. A Yang Harmony immortal pill did not stop his mortal body turns into wood. Mortal body turns into wood is irreversible, but his body and vitality are amazing, so the final fall will be several days later. In Weisuo was a blood knife cut off a small half of the waist of the giant great treasure wound. Another city of a quiet room, a wearing a body is all a flying sword like rune, face is bronze, looks very its grim middle-aged face golden core great treasure cultivator, is offering a side of jade, the white jade, there are dozens of like the eye general black great treasure stone, magnificent light flash, as if a magic eye in the blink of a jade, this piece of the front, condensate Weisuo by the red knife light cut the picture. The face is in front of the bronze golden core great treasure cultivator, but it is a 4-5 old man with a strong sense of Danmer Mercury. It seems to be a cultivator with profound pharmacology research on Dao of alchemy. One of the white old men wearing a grey shapeshift great art suit, looking at Weisuo's wound, gave a very positive answer. Thank you all for Pill Master. If Sky Sword sect can solve this person successfully, I must thank you. The bronze face of the golden core great treasure cultivator heard this, suddenly revealed a smile, reached out, received a white jade plate, reached out and waved, so that several apparently Sky Sword sect disciple cultivator, these the old people were sent out. Subsequently, the bronzed skin of the golden core great treasure cultivator chilled out a surging sound, and a few Sky Sword sect disciple passed down, destroy the transmission of the shapeshift great art array in the surrounding cities. Cao Shidi got the inheritance of Sword King old ancestor, with his natural talent and cultivation base. I am afraid it will come later, and then it will not be the first time. I am now trying my best to please him, and I will definitely get a lot of secret places in the future. After all the Sky Sword sect disciple went out, the bronze-colored golden core great treasure cultivator smiled smugly. First, he provoked an ancient jade crane for communication, and then swept out. Sky Sword sect is that I must be degraded and want to delay the time as they traveled to the city of Mu, which is only 4 blocks away from Heavenly Sword City. Weisuo and Ling Longtian are now heading to the next city to transmit the shapeshift great art array, which has been damaged and has no shapeshift great art fixes. However, Weisuo saw this lust shape, but there was no lust, but it was a bit of joy. It seems that Sky Sword sect is not strong enough to allow all the cities along the way to listen to them, destroying the transmission of shapeshift great art, especially True Martial sect and Mystic Wind sect, and even hope that Sky Sword sect will be leveled by Weisuo. Because in their view, Weisuo is destined to fall, and after Sky Sword sect is beaten, they can just pick up the mess and take over the power of Sky Sword sect. If Sky Sword sect can destroy all along the route shapeshift great art array, so that he did not do in a few days shapeshift great art rush to the Sky Sword sect, it is only forced him to give up attack Sky Sword sect mountain gate plan, but now only separated 4 cities, only tens of thousands of miles distance, he used void walking step shapeshift great art, in a day, can reach Sky Sword sect. And this just invisibly reveals a little. Sky Sword sect has no absolute confidence in the defense of his own mountain gate, otherwise there is no need to make such a layout, as long as all the turtles are in the mountain gate, waiting for Weisuo to go to attack. Yes. There's some good secret places, rely on Weisuo to Yeguwei and other people's Fei Dun shapeshift great art great treasure. Yeguwei and other people arrived in 2 days and Heavenly Sword City adjacent to the town of Heavenly Scale, where decorate Good Fortune Jade Pond. There will be no hindrance, and there is no shapeshift between cities great art interworking, completely rely on Dun shapeshift great art and Fei Dun shapeshift great art great treasure words, even if the last he was there. Decorate the Good Fortune Jade Pond, others, also not a Weisuo fast, the way will also spend time. And Duguyun is also a very astute cultivator. As soon as he arrives at Heavenly Scale City, he will immediately set up an exchange message between Shapeshift Great Art and Weisuo to inform Good Fortune Jade Pond of the naked body. Sky Sword Sect, I must sweep your mountain gate. Cao Yi, I will let you know that life is not as good as death. After the shocking sternly shouted surging sound in the city, Wei Suo kept moving the void walking step shapeshift great art to the direction of Heavenly Sword City, constantly crossing the void. Wei Suo, this person and Sky Sword Sect have great treasure revenge. Sweeping Sky Sword Sect can be said to be his last wish. He will definitely come to Sky Sword Sect. This person does not kill innocent people, just against Sky Sword Section I can witness this heaven-shaking battle. I don't know who the final deer died. When the shapeshift great art array was destroyed in several cities around Heavenly Sword City, countless cultivators were gathered around Heavenly Sword City, and these cultivators were afraid to stay in the city of Heavenly Sword City. They are all staying outside the city, gathering at least hundreds of thousands of people. For 1,000 years, there has never been a rogue cultivator dare to openly kill a mountain gate of Great Sect, to directly level the Great Sect. The escape light kept coming up, and the amazing number of cultivators kept coming, trying to witness this heaven-shaking battle. The dense cultivators are all in the discuss spiritedly, all waiting in the cock. Suddenly, the distant sky flashed at the end of the sky, and there was a horrifying breath, far from the mighty, a murderous aura that made the ground seem to have a slight vibration, like the tide, from the secret place the horizon is rolling. Coming. All the cultivators' breathing paused, but the heart was violently beating, and the light was constantly traversing in the void. Just like the stars jumping, only Wei Suo had such an amazing degree that there was such a mighty killing intent. Cao Yi, first come out and die. I can also give you a bit of a dead shapeshift great art. A surging sound filled with ice cold, rolling in. Wei Suo and Ling Longtian continually cross the void in the air, with Wei Suo's cultivation base at the moment, each crossing the void, spanning a distance of more than 20 miles. At this moment, he and Ling Longtian have seen the whole picture of Sky Sword Sect. Above a long mountain range, like a long sword. In the first half of the sword, a city is built, which is Heavenly Sword City. In the second half, it was in the gate of Sky Sword Sect. A layer of macro great treasure of the mysterious iron brilliance, covering the giant great treasure area including the second half of the mountain range, judging from the surrounding mountains, at least hundreds of hills. Great treasure is not a word. I am afraid to let this rumor fall. A very majestic and cold surging sound, which was transmitted from the gate of Sky Sword Sect at the time of Wei Suo's surging sound. I am great treasure. Wei Suo boarded the city above Heavenly Sword and swayed the weather like stepping on the entire Heavenly Sword City. Sky Sword Sect people are shrinking turtles, not even a person who dares to come out to fight. Level Great Sect, this is called the Level Great Sect? Read and download in the Chinese website to update fast novels more, ttp.